thanks. Like, hey, Scoob, did you hear Nikki Blake is hosting a Scooby-Doo panel? No. Yeah. Like on today's Scooby-Doo episode, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy meet Nikki Blake. Yeah, and a Scooby panel. Like, we need to get this puppy started. Okay, Nikki Blake, take it away, Scooby-Doo.
Welcome to the Scooby panel. I'm your host, Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com, and today we are talking about collecting. Before we begin, I'll have everyone introduce themselves, and Wendy, will start with you.
Hi guys, I'm Wendy BRYDGE. I'm a commissioned artist, and I have been collecting Scooby-Doo for over 30 years.
Avery.
Hi, my name's Avery, and I run True Drew podcast, and I've been collecting Nancy Drew since I was about 8 years old. So,
Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa IRINO, and I collect Casper the Friendly Ghost, and I'm the Guinness World Record holder of the Casper collection.
wow.
Andrew.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrew Longoria. I've been collecting Selena for over 27 years, and I'm also the Guinness World Record for the largest Selena memorabilia collection.
Wow.
Awesome. Very cool.
I didn't even say how long I've been collecting. Sorry.
That's okay. I wouldn't have even thought that you were 27 years old, let alone collecting for 27 years. So
I'm 32 years old, but yeah, started collecting when I was 5, and here she is.
Nice. So when did you start collecting, Wendy?
Oh, goodness. Well, I would be lying if I told you that I could remember the first Scooby-Doo that I watched on TV, but I absolutely can tell you the first Scooby that I ever bought in a store. And it is this giant, he is the giant Mighty Star Toys. I'm pretty sure that he is the largest size that they make. And I spotted him. We were at this flea market that we would go to regularly. I was maybe between like 5 and 6. And I spotted him from like half a football field away. And he was in this little booth with all of these oversized stuffed animals. And I saw him and immediately dragged my parents down there. And I'm pretty sure that he was $30. And my dad was like, well, you're going to have to haggle for him because we can't pay $30 for him. But like maybe, just ask the guy. And it was a really nice guy there. And I was scared out of my mind. I was not that kid who could do that kind of thing. And I don't remember asking him, but my dad swears. He's like, no, you did ask the man. And I think we got Scooby for like $22 or $20. Like he did take a little bit off. And at that age, that Scooby was like the size of me. And he slept on my bed for years. I always had my bed up against the wall. And the Scooby would lie, like I would be against the wall, the Scooby would be on the other side. So I always felt very safe with Scooby in the bed with me. And I dragged him around everywhere that I could think of. And that is my first like Scooby memory. Obviously, I would have had to have watched him prior to that. But that is just, I can still see that room, and I can see him with all of those other things. And I think that's a good way to start your collecting journey, with something that is like a really good memory like that.
Yeah, for sure. Avery, when did you start collecting, and do you remember the first item you collected?
So I was, like I said, about 8 years old, and I remember my mom introducing me to the Nancy Drew books, and she had read them when she was a child. And so she started me out with these little 4-packs of Nancy Drew books that you could get at Sam's. Like, I don't know if they still do that, but I was hooked from the first page of that book. And I remember just always asking her, like, when am I going to get the next 4? And so it became like kind of this ritual of like birthdays, Christmas. I would always get the next set. And it's been a constant journey of reading those books ever since. So
nice. Vanessa, when did you start collecting, and do you remember the first item you collected?
Yeah, I first started everything when I was 5, because that's whenever I first saw Casper on TV in an old cartoon channel. I know it was not Cartoon Network unless they did have the old school cartoons late at night. But he was just like a squishy little plastic bag, just like walking around and just wants to be friends. And I felt very connected to him because I felt that way in my family, very neglected and invisible, a ghost and stuff like that. So I felt like Casper would have been my best friend because Casper befriended all of the animals that felt that way and other children. And I was like, oh, I love him so much. And so I would start collecting the VHS tapes of the Casper cartoons because back in the day, they would be $1 at the dollar store. So I would be able to collect those first before anything. And then when I was 8 years old, the movie came out and I got my first Casper plush. He's right there.
Mhm.
I got that for my birthday because the movie came out May 26th. My birthday is May 17th. So I got that plush for my birthday afterwards and for my great grandma. And then I started collecting the movie merch after that. So first thing I would say would be the VHS tapes, but like first actual Casper merch type thing is that little guy back there.
Nice. Andrew, when did you start collecting, and do you remember the first item you collected?
Oh, many moons ago. But yeah, I started when I was 5. Saw the Selena movie on the television. Didn't speak Spanish, still don't un poquito español. But definitely became a fan. And my first Selena item was the Dreaming of You album. My grandmother Rosemary purchased it for me, and it kickstarted my entire collection.
Nice. I love that some of you have connections with family giving you, your first thing or something that means something to you. That's really cool. I honestly can't remember when I started really collecting. My parents used to bring me stuff home from the Warner Brothers store when they would go to Atlantic City, so that was really cool. So I got a lot of the Warner Brothers studio store stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you consider collecting an investment or purely a passion, Wendy?
Well, it's an investment in happiness, I think. I definitely do not look at my collection from a monetary viewpoint because honestly, like, not to be morbid, but after I pass away, I don't really care what happens to it. I'm not going to care. And so right now, this is just something that I do for myself. I enjoy it. If someone gets it after I'm gone and they make money on it, I mean, good for them. I have no problem with that. If it goes in the trash, I mean, that will be very sad because there's a lot of love poured into this and yes, a lot of money, I'm not going to lie. But I definitely do not collect thinking like, oh, this is going to be a good investment. I'm going to be able to sell this or that. Like, no, if something comes into my possession, you will have to pry it out of my cold, dead hands. I'm not like, which is why I don't typically collect like too many doubles of things because I'm very like, well, I want it to be curated. And once I have it, especially if I have paid money for it, I'm like, no, now I need to keep it. This needs to like stay with me. And so yeah, but I do like to say it is an investment in happiness. I think that is a good way of looking at it because as soon as your collecting is no longer bringing you any joy and it's not fun anymore, it's probably time to maybe like try something different or reconsider what you're doing because there's no sense pouring a lot of money or time into something that's no longer bringing you some type of happiness.
I like that. Investment in
I hear you.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Avery, do you consider collecting an investment or purely a passion?
I consider it more of a passion. I mean, I would say I'd be lying if it wasn't sort of an investment like of your own money, and your resources and your time to hunt everything down. But I am the same way. I don't look at it as like, oh, I can make so much more money on this in the future. It's all just the joy and the thrill of the hunt, I think, and finding those hard to find items. And it's definitely just, I don't know. It's just fun to find those pieces that fill out your collection. So,
Vanessa,
Agreed.
do you consider it to be an investment or purely a passion?
very much leaning towards the passion, especially because I relate to Casper so much. As silly as this may sound to a lot of people, I myself am a ghost. I've come to terms that way because my whole life I've been treated that way. I'm still urging to be seen in many ways. So I relate to him, and the times that people do listen to me, I try to use that as like a way to preach out. Well, preach is like the worst word ever. Say what Casper does. He talks about friendship, acceptance, loving everybody, and not being cruel to others and stuff like that. I had to live my life that way, of everyone treating me that way, and God knows I still deal with this. Andrew knows. Go through this nonstop, and I'm still here trying to be like, you know what? I'm still gonna be friendly. I'm still gonna be good to people. This is the message that Casper gives out. This is what I want to be like too. So I passionately surround myself with who saved me since I was 5 years old, who I related to all these years, who helped me grow into the person that I am, whether I am a specter walking amongst the living, or people see me and I am your friend and I bring joy to your life as much as Casper has brought joy to mine. So yeah, like that.
Perfect. And we see you and we like you. I like you a lot.
Thank you.
Andrew, do you consider collecting an investment or purely a passion?
Ooh, so I would say both. Of course, it starts out as a passion. But of course, it sounds like a lot of us, have things from years way before we were even born. And I feel that's where the investment part comes from. Learning how to preserve things. One thing I never knew about was acid-free tissue paper or boxes. Never knew that was a thing. And so as a collector, you start really investing into your collection. For me, now that I've earned the Guinness World Record, my focus now has been more with preserving Selena's legacy in memorabilia, where things that are owed and authentic, you can say, and antique, things that were way before I was even alive. So I would say it's a little bit of both a passion and an investment.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a little bit of both, but I do really like Wendy's investment in happiness, because when I look at my Scooby stuff, I don't think, oh, I wonder what I could sell that for eventually. To me, it's not ever going to be sold. My kids can do what they want with it when I die. And yeah, it just brings me a lot of joy. And, I walk into my room and I'm just like, oh, Scooby.
Yes, your safe space. And it's weird because people ask me, how much is your collection worth, or this, and I'm like, you know what? I can't even put a number to it because everything is like so priceless. And how am I going to remember over 1,000 items here, how much I spent on each thing and how much this is worth? It's worth 10 times more now because it's in a Guinness World Record collection, and things get more value in the future. So there you go.
Well, it's more about the feeling that it gives you and that nostalgia than I would say the monetary value, for sure.
Yes. It's priceless, you guys.
Yeah. I do usually get that same question from people like, oh, what is it worth? Or they'll say, I hope you can sell this for a lot of money someday. And it's like, well, you don't see it the way that I see it. So
no, that's not how it is. We have heart and the passion big time first for all of this.
Yeah. Do you think the collectibles, whatever it is that you're collecting, will hold its value in 20 to 30 years, Wendy?
I mean, yes and no, because at the end of the day, no matter what you collect and no matter what the time frame is, something is worth whatever someone's going to pay for it. And so items that have a lot of meaning to me, where I would say like they are literally priceless, offer me $10,000. I'm like, cross my heart. Nikki will vouch for this. Cross my heart. Hand me a check for $10,000. I am not giving up that Mighty Star Scooby. He's a part of my life. He is a part of as silly as it sounds, he is a part of me and who I became because it was such an integral part of my life from such a young age. I think that as far as Scooby-Doo goes, Scooby's popularity, I don't think has waned at all. If anything, I think that the fandom has grown over the last 10, 20, even 30 years, let's say. We have streaming and things now, and there are so many different iterations of Scooby that it really doesn't matter what generation you are from. There's a very wide variety of Scooby to be consumed. So we often say like there really literally is like something for everyone if you're into like mysteries and fun, silly cartoon dogs. So do I think that some of my pieces, you could sell them for a decent price in 20, 30 years? I would imagine so if you market them correctly. The same as today, I would have to pay a little bit more for certain items. I personally don't think, though, that and again, this is not like a one size fits all. This totally is dependent on a lot of different things. But I don't really know that there is any collectible franchise or anyone's collection really that will ever truly reach that like what they thought Beanie Babies were going to do in the 90s. Like that was your kid's college fund, was your Beanie Baby collection. Like people legitimately thought that they were going to be able to like make like millions, like life-changing dollars on these little stuffed toys. Unfortunately, that is like the opposite of what happened. So like I hope everyone that collected them actually genuinely had like a love for them too, because I mean, I've got 2 tote boxes of them. I'm not gonna lie, I do. My mom was really into them, just because she loved them, not as like an investment or anything. But I don't know that collecting will ever be what we thought that was going to turn into, where someone could say, you know, like almost like this is my job. I'm a collector. I am building my future based on whatever it is that I like or I love. Or, I mean, I hope that never happens too, because, you know, if that were to happen though, it would no longer be, oh, whatever I love. It will be, oh, well, whatever's going to make me money. It's like art, you know, how many big wigs, you know, the people with really deep pockets paying millions of dollars for artwork and putting it in a vault somewhere. And they never look at it and no one sees it or enjoys it. I mean, I'm a painter, and while, yes, I mean, of course, if someone paid me $1 million to paint them a picture, I'm going to do it and I'm going to be over the moon. But the thought of something that I put that much time and effort and heart and soul into being closed up somewhere, and that person is literally like waiting for me to die so that the value of this piece that they don't love, they don't care about it. They don't care if they can see it every day. They saw it one time and that was enough for them. That would break my heart. Honestly, it would. I mean, I'm not going to turn down $1 million, of course, but that would break my heart. I don't want my paintings going to that style of collecting. So I hope that collecting anything never truly that becomes the norm. I hope not, because again, collecting is supposed to be something that makes you happy. All of these people and characters, they mean something to us. It's not about the dollar value. If there is a dollar value, cool, but it's not about that. And I personally don't think it should be about that. There are other ways of like investing monetarily in your future. Like, let's not mix it up so much with something that actually matters to people.
Yeah.
God, Wendy. All right. I guess I'm done because that was girl, the passion with your speaking. I am moved.
Thank you.
We love Wendy.
And I agree too. I guess I'm gonna have to put one of your paintings in my closet for a rainy day. I mean, I'll take a painting of me dressed as Cat with Casper. You know what I mean?
That would be cute.
Wendy is an amazing artist, so
thank you.
I gotta look into that.
Her art is fantastic.
Thank you.
And worth $1 million, I hear.
It should
Someday,
be.
maybe. You never
It
know.
should be. For as good as she is, it definitely should be.
Hey, go girl. I would treasure it anyways. I have friends that are artists that given me Casper paintings, and I treasure all of them. They're all here on my wall.
That's wonderful.
Avery, do you think collectibles will hold their value in 20 to 30 years?
Oh gosh, how do I follow that? Well, I think like we've said, like the monetary value that the market puts on our collectibles is very different from what we put on them. Our value to us, they're priceless. And there's things in my collection that I'm like, I couldn't imagine like parting with that. And but I do think like there's resurgences of things in popular culture, like you were saying. Scooby-Doo has had so many different like spin-off series and movies, and Nancy Drew, like this year was like the 95th anniversary. So I keep thinking like, those 5-year markers, like there sometimes seems to be like this resurgence of interest in it, which is really, really cool. And then the fact that people are doing podcasts like you all are doing, or like I'm doing, and just social media, it just creates more of an awareness around what you enjoy. And you kind of find these other tribes of people that are like, oh, well, I like that too. And so I think that, if anything, it creates more awareness, but I don't know if the dollar amount follows that sometimes, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. Vanessa, do you think collectibles will hold their value in 20 to 30 years?
I feel like a lot of it depends on the person too, because I do have a book that has antique toys and their value. This one was printed back in 1995, coincidentally, when the Casper movie came out. But it was geared towards the vintage Casper toys. And so I had looked it up, a few of the Casper toys that I do have in my collection, on how much the price was then and what they thought it would be later in the years. And some of them said later on this will be worth $50. But no, actually people are selling it for like 200 and up. And that was a situation that I dealt with the Casper Pez dispenser. There's a couple out there that I don't have. Why? Because people want $250 for it. And I'm like, no, I got my cutoff. I know that was one of the questions later on, but like there's an example right there. I'm like, no. Even my collector's book from 1995, I think about that sometimes, but yeah, prices do fluctuate and stuff like that. Everything's a roller coaster, but it is funny how some of the items they said that would be worth a lot more. Now I was able to pay less on eBay. So I was like, okay, but then I price check things and try to get things at the best value, but I also look at the condition. So I feel like certain things will get more in value. Like another question that I will answer later on, as far as like movie props from movies, those will skyrocket and stuff like that, whether I paid a lot for it when I got it in auction or whether I paid very little for it. People will pay big money for certain movie props, stuff like that. A movie prop that got away from me that I really wanted was the Lazarus bottle from the movie. I make my own. That one went for up to $5,000. My husband said no, because buyer's premium is gonna, hit me hard there too. So, but yes, there's a limit, but yeah, like I said, I think it definitely depends on the person and stuff, because I've gotten a lot of Casper items. Somebody's like, oh, just $1, but then on eBay it's worth $50. So yeah, it depends on the person, but I wouldn't be selling any of my stuff. So yeah.
Andrew, do you think collectibles will hold their value in 20 to 30 years?
That's a hard one. I think it's up to the fans, honestly. I think it's really up to the fans on the value of things that are going to go. I mean, who would have thought Pokemon cards would be going for 10 grand, if not more?
Yes.
You're right. But I really think it's the fans, honestly. I think of, my Selena collection and, there's items that I got for 30 bucks now that people are paying, $400, $500 for. And I'm like, no. But I also believe it's supply and demand too. I feel that, with a lot of things that come out, and you can see it happen within several years where, quite a bit comes out, they call it limited edition, and then they fly off the shelves. And then you see them getting resold for a little bit more. And then years later, it's just skyrocketed so high. So I feel that it's in the hands of the fans. If the supply and demand's there and they really want it, and there's not a lot out there, I think they're going to pay a pretty penny. But I feel if there's a lot of items out there and they're not really moving, I think that's where the value of certain things start going down. And eBay doesn't help. I know everyone loves eBay, but I feel eBay is a double-edged sword where sure, it may show some items selling for pretty pennies, but if they're sitting there for a while and you have it, and that's where it starts dropping in value. So I would say hard question to answer, but I think it's up to the fans of the franchises and depending on if they want to keep it alive or not. I mean, look at Selena 30 years later, and now she's still, topping charts, winning awards. And that's all because of the fans.
I think the hard thing is that the younger generation doesn't collect anything. So, when we're older and, I don't want to say dead, but we'll just go with older. What is going to really happen to everything that, all the collections that people have? Because, I mean, even my kids, they don't really collect anything. So that's where my mind goes, thinking about the value in 20 to 30 years. If no one is collecting anything, then nothing's really going to have any value.
Right.
True, but some people can push that influence. Like a lot of people have contacted me saying that they got inspired to collect something that they liked and stuff like that. So that's where us as collectors, we get to do positive influence on other people. Find your passion and surround yourself with it. I'm proud to say that my little boy collects axolotls, and he wants to have the next Guinness World Record for axolotls. Andrew contributed an axolotl in his collection, and and he's got a little collection of Ghostbusters in his room. That was kind of me with him because we do love our ghosts in general. But I feel like if there's more of us out there, like being the great influence as far as like finding your joys and then surround yourself with the collections and stuff, there could be more kids that we can, get them motivated, collect something, and keep them out of trouble. Man, try to do that.
I so agree with that. I mean, it happened a lot with my Guinness World Record. At the event, people would come up and talk about how they started collecting. I mean, even on my Instagram, I would get messages about, because being a boy and you're collecting Selena, sometimes you get a little look. I have straight men that are like, my wife don't like it, and I have kids, that are like 12, 13, and they're like, oh, how did you start? And they ask these questions. And I mean, for me, I started because of my grandma's collection. She collected Elvis Presley and led me to collect Selena. So I do also feel that it's us as collectors, our job to instill, I wouldn't say a passion for collecting, but a passion for preserving the things that bring us joy. I think that'd be the best way to always do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, that was one thing we were talking about, like if we see doubles of something that we see in our own collection, sometimes like if the condition's good, I'll pick up that book, and I like to do like giveaways and give them to people, because I feel like you're kind of spreading that joy and that passion around and getting someone else interested in the things that you're interested in too. So
yes, you could change people's lives.
The axolotl, I didn't know what an axolotl was until The Masked Singer. So,
really?
Which is a strange place to have figured that out, but
I love that.
Hey, that's awesome. You got a story behind it.
Do you have a limit on the price you're willing to pay for an item, and how do you determine what you think the value is? Wendy?
Well, so far, I think the most that I've ever paid for an item was maybe like $110, and that was hard. That was hard for me to justify. I'll be honest, there's not a whole lot left as far as like what I would consider like holy grail items that like, oh my gosh, my life is not going to be complete unless I get these. I've been extremely fortunate in the last number of years that I've been able to pick up the majority of the things that I've really wanted to get. I hesitate to say that, I mean, like, obviously there is a limit, and I would like to consider that it's quite low. I mean, I would be disappointed in myself if I ever spent more than $150 on something. However, there could still be, I mean, I think Nikki can attest to this. You think that you've seen it all. You're like, there's no way that there's anything that I have not seen. And then it's like, what is that? Where did you get that? Who made that? How old is that? Why is there no date on it? Why is there no information about this? Because I really want one. So I'm not going to say that there is not a Scooby item out in the world that I might be willing to spend more than $150 on. That is entirely possible. As for right now, for the most part, I'm like, wow, it's really got to be something that I want so bad to spend $100 on it. The lower that I can get it for, the better. I also am very much like, condition matters. Obviously, the nicer the condition it is, that makes you happy. However, I will probably 100% of the time, I would take a damaged item if I could get it for a significant discount. Because I'll just fix it. Nikki knows. Yeah. Nikki knows what I do.
So Wendy,
I would rather...
Wendy got an ornament in the mail that came completely destroyed. Okay. If you saw the picture of this, you would be like, it's trash. Her dad put it back together.
Yeah.
And it looks like so good. And
I do have
it just blew my mind that she told us that, and then sent me pictures of it like completely like crap.
Yeah. It's one of those like glass ornaments that's hollow inside. It came in a little brown paper envelope in the mail. It was it was in pieces. I mean, as an adult, I mean, I dumped it out on the counter. I put it, my dad was like, oh, is that your ornament? And I started crying, and I was like, I already know it's smashed to pieces. He's like, it's okay. He's like, just pour it out. Let's see. I helped. I watched him do this, and I still have no idea how it happened, because there were even like big chunks of him missing that never, like, I'm sure that the seller broke it before they packaged it and just were like, well, if she gets it damaged in the mail, she'll make a claim. eBay won't charge me, you know, so like everybody wins kind of thing. My dad completely pieced that back together. I repainted the pieces that needed it.
You can't even see the seams or cracks in that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Way to go, Dad.
Yeah, my dad's amazing. My dad can do anything. But yeah, I mean, would not recommend, like, I would not choose an ornament that is smashed into like billions of bits in that case, but I was very glad that he could salvage that. But yeah, so I mean, the less I can get something for, the better, because I am like that person who's like, if someone says to me, oh my goodness, I love your dress, I am not the one who will like play up as if like, if someone thinks it's expensive, I'll go along with that. Oh, no. If you think my dress looks like it cost me $100, guess what? It was $5 on clearance. And I will tell everyone in a 5-mile radius in that moment, because I'm so excited about it. So the less I can get it for, the better. But I mean, $100 is like right now what I consider to be like my limit. I can't name anything right now that I'm looking for or that I have seen where I'm like, I would pay more than $100 for that. There's nothing on my list like that right now.
Avery, do you have a limit on the price you're willing to pay for an item, and how do you determine the value?
Yeah, I would say mine is pretty similar to Wendy's, that $100 range, because I thrift a lot and I've been very lucky and blessed to find things in antique malls, flea markets, and just good old Goodwill. So it's hard for me to pay full price for anything, but there's of course, those items that you're like, well, if I could find that, it's really, really rare, I might, splurge a little bit on that. I brought a few things out of my bookshelf just to use as like examples, but this is the Nancy Drew lunchbox. These usually go for anywhere to like that $150, sometimes $175 range. And a lot of times they are missing the thermos that comes with it. So I got that one for like less than half of that. It was a steal. And I was like, well, maybe I'll get lucky one day and track down the thermos, and was able to find it. And so just because I found them separately, I ended up paying a little bit less that way. So I try to get creative and look on Marketplace. And I know eBay, like you said, is kind of a double-edged sword sometimes. I know like certain things like ornaments or books, sometimes books like will come and they're just like on their last leg sometimes, but I've got like a bookbinding press, so I can rebind books if they're in like really, really bad shape. So, and some of these books are from the 1930s, so sometimes they are. So
That's so cool.
thanks.
Vanessa, do you have a limit on the price you're willing to pay, and how do you determine the value?
Firstly, let me follow up with Wendy's story and grab something.
I love stories like this.
Okay, story time with this Casper bank.
Oh, he's cute.
I got him off of eBay, and he was always one similar to him would always be over $100 and stuff like that. This one I found for $20, and I was like, this person know what they're doing, Sold. I bought it. I get it in the mail, and it's in pieces. In pieces. They put it in a box. They put one plastic bag over it, and no padding, nothing. This is ceramic.
Yeah.
Nothing.
God.
It was in pieces. I right away messaged the seller, sent them pictures, and I got a refund, thankfully, because I was ready to fight. I was like, you know this. And so my husband right away, he's all like, well, you got your refund. You could throw it away. It's just trash. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It's far from it. I glued every single, you could see the cracks, but I glued every single piece. And then all the places where, plaster was missing, I put the air dry clay, and then I let it dry. And then I put so many layers of paint, and I redid his eyes. I did them a little too dark, but you get the idea. And I repainted the name Casper and stuff, but he was in many pieces. I fixed him right up. I got my refund. I still have him. He's part of the collection. He's the old piggy bank, the plaster ones. So that's my follow-up. Whenever Wendy said that, I was like, oh girl, same. So I'm really proud of this one. I even made a TikTok about it. I was like, oh my God, I did it.
Did a great job. Okay. He looks fantastic.
He does look really
Thank you.
The things we do.
I know. But now let me get to your question. I had to pop him out. So yes, I do need to be thoughtful about price limits and stuff like that, especially in respect of my hardworking husband who supports this hobby. Because I am nearly just a housewife and mother, but I do a lot of work here too. I gotta acknowledge that. So the most expensive thing at first that I had gotten was a Christmas present that my husband agreed upon because it's a rare statue that was given to the cast and crew of the Casper movie, and it had a name on the bottom. So that they originally listed it for $200. I made an offer for $150 because my husband let me, and they accepted it. So that was my most expensive thing first. Second one well, the number one that I have. And a lot of people don't know this much, but it's all right if they do. Well, I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm not gonna leave you hanging. Anywho, so we have this friend in Osaka. He's got a store that sells antique toys and stuff like that. And we go antique toy shopping every time we go to Japan, lots of different shops. They know me already. They're like, Caspa. And I'm like, yes. um so he had told us about a very, very, very rare collectible tin toy tank that you wind it up and it's got Casper that picks it up and it's got the other Harvey characters around the tank. Very rare. You can't find it in Japan and stuff like that. One, and then I think it was last year or the year, I forgot. I found it. I found it on Etsy. Etsy, out of all places. I find it on Etsy. They wanted $700 and something for it. I showed it to my husband. He knew the rarity of it. I didn't pay this much, y'all. He knew the rarity of it, and he was just surprised that I found it. And it was all in good condition. It worked and stuff like that. And then he was like, see if you could get them to lower it. I messaged them back and forth, try to get it smaller, lower. And I told them who I was. Sometimes it works. It helps. I'll tell you another story about that. And they lowered it to $625. I'm sorry. I wish it was $125. $625.
Yeah, we got excited there for a second.
I was like,
Girl, I
what?
wish. No. I wish. They weren't that generous, but they were like, well, my dad really wants this much for it because it's rare. And then I was like, well, I can't argue with that. I know. So we did splurge. That was like my birthday, Christmas, anniversary, Thanksgiving, Valentine's, all whatever gift. So $625 on the Casper tin toy tank. I will show it to you because, you know. But let me show you. And then I'll tell you the other story. Let's see. Do you guys see it right there?
Oh,
look at
wow. That's cool.
You see
Wow.
Casper?
Yes.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
really cool.
That's
And
why
can
it's in its own dome.
Can I ask what year that was made?
I think 60s or 70s, because in the bottom it just says Japan.
Yeah.
In Japan, these toys are extremely, extremely expensive.
Mhm.
Because there's a tin toy museum over there, and I know the owner too.
Oh,
I need a museum in Japan, but like even he doesn't have this.
wow.
Wow.
So I'm like, here we go. Oh, and right there's the statue from the cast and crew.
Oh,
That's really neat.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
It's got Casper and his uncles. And now the next thing I'm going to show y'all and tell y'all, this big promotional banner right here
Yeah.
it was on eBay for $300. I messaged the seller saying, hey girl, I collect Casper. May or may not have a world record. She lowered this down to $80.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
That's my success story of
That's
of
awesome.
that. Definitely, I do have a price limit for things. I try to shop smart overall of things my husband doesn't know about. But things that I do need him to know about would be stuff like that. And he let me get that because he knows the rarity of it. And it was authenticated by Japanese collectors. So there's that.
nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, but he didn't let me get the movie prop that went up to $5,000. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, you never know.
Yes, I need it. Especially if they ever find Kat's white dress. I will sell a kidney for it. That's a whole other thing. Because Christina Ricci wore it. That's another thing too.
Yeah.
My queen. Oh, that's a whole other story. I'll tell you when I met her. But yeah, sorry, it is Andrew's turn.
Andrew, do you have a limit on the price you're willing to pay for an item, and how do you determine the value?
Well, Vanessa, thank you for going before me because now I'm like, oh, okay, great. Someone paid more. Whew.
Trust me,
Um,
I know.
Gosh, condition does matter to me only because one thing I'm learning is how things will deteriorate over years. Vanessa would tell you there's someone I'm in talks with about a Selena item that would have came out while Selena was alive. Unfortunately, it is not real leather, and so the condition is really sticky. But your boy doesn't know anything about that. So for me, condition really does matter. My limit is 200, but I would be lying to say that I would be able to control myself if Selena movie props went on sale, particularly outfits. Warner Brother actually did list them on eBay years ago. I mean, yeah, you're talking about the white dress, which Selena never wore, but the white dress she sang Dreaming of You in. There was the cow print outfit, and there was the red bustier one, and they were on eBay. And Warner Brothers took them off, and I think they knew they're like, "Ooh, there's a lot of traffic. Let's keep it." But yeah, anything from the movie or the series, I probably would pay a pretty penny for it. Most recently, I bought an item over my budget. So for me, I also feel what kind of will come into play is if it completes a collection. So if I'm missing that item, I'm like, I don't know, there as you can see the vinyl records, I have every single vinyl that was an album at least of Selena that ever came out from when she was 9 years old all the way to the 30th Dreaming of You album. And there was one particular I didn't have. And years ago, it was a promotional album, so it wasn't sold in stores or anything like that. No art cover or anything. And someone sold it. They're like, "Oh, I won $50." And I was like, "I don't want it. No." And then they came back, a few years later. They were like, "Oh, I'm gonna sell it for 80." And I was like, "I didn't want it for 50." Like, no.
Yeah.
Then the albums, the vinyls is something that I'm big about with Selena are the vinyls. And so I've been looking for it, and it's now going up to like over $1,000, and I'm like, and I'm just kicking myself about it. But I believe if you put it into the universe, if you really put that energy in there, it will come back. Some way, somehow it finds a way back to you. And so I was like, you know what? I really want it, but I'm not paying $1,000 for it. You got me upside down, turned around. I ain't doing it. We ain't in Stranger Things. That's not what's happening. And so then I was like, okay, if I see it, we'll see. Well, someone listed it for 500, and I was like, and I just couldn't. I couldn't. I was like, I can't do that. Like, I know it's worth more. I can't. And so I was like, maybe they'll take 300. And so I sent them an offer, and surprisingly, they took it because it wasn't on eBay long. I'm surprised they took it. And it's now, I don't know if you'd be able to see it. It's up there. Yeah, I know it goes way high. So it's right next to Alpha. So it's her with the groups near the blue one. And so it didn't have an album cover because it never did, and they made a CD version of it. And so all I did was I blew up the CD version cover of it. I touched it up a little bit, and then I had it printed as a vinyl record sleeve, just like these two behind me as well. Never existed on vinyl, the sleeve at least, but had album artwork, and I wanted to make my wall look complete. But yeah, so condition definitely matters for me at least. Uh, but also, yeah, 200 is still my limit, but I would say depending on the item, and if it completes a collection of mine that, I'm really passionate about, I think I may spend a little bit more. But 200, me and my husband agreed, 200.
I'm going to remind you, Andrew.
I know, but hey, I mean, anything for Selena's. So saying anything.
I agree that it does depend on what the item is and the condition of it and all of that. I think the most I paid for something was 600, which is
Oh, thank you.
awful. But,
What was it?
sometimes
I gotta know.
it was the magenta pop figure.
Okay.
What? The pop
Yeah.
Well, because those went out in seconds, right? When they dropped the
And
magenta one.
what's really horrible is that when they first went on sale, I held all of the colored ones in my hands. They were $25 each, and I had them, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get these right now. Like, I'll just wait. Yeah,
Never wait, girl. Oh
I
man, I
know.
learned this the hard way too.
I know. I know.
Oh,
I was so mad at myself for like not buying them, and then mad at myself for spending $600 on one stupid pop figure.
Yeah.
But at the time, I felt like I needed to like complete my pop figure collection. At this point, I'll never complete it, and I've learned to be okay with that. But I do have that like completist mentality where if I have part of a line of something, I need to have it all.
Right.
But the
yes.
pop figures, I can't like Super Scooby. I would love to have him. He's the NFT one, but I'm not paying $400 for him. And I had a dream that I saw him for $25. So I'm waiting for that to come true.
The dreams are so the worst. I had them too.
Yeah.
And there was one, I will always remember it, where I'm having a dream, I ran into some store and it's like all these Selena merchandise. And I'm like, oh my God, they're all vintage. And I'm grabbing things. And then I remember I was like, wait, you had a dream like this. And then you woke up, I was like, put them under your pillow. And so I'm in my dream, somehow putting them under my pillow. And I wake up and I'm like so upset they're not there. Yeah, it is those dreams. Alternate universes or something, I tell you.
No, same. I've had dreams where I walked into like a building and it's like truck full of Casper vintage items. I've like go to like an antique store or something like that, and my mind will just blow. And I'd ask somebody like, "Do you have a cart?" And then there'd be like, I'm like, "I don't have this. I don't have this. I don't have this." I'm all like going nuts, finding more Casper stuff. It's like I need that dream to come true, but then also like enough money to make that happen as well. But like, dang, these dreams are rocking.
Right.
I had a similar one where it was like a situation where they're like, well, you can have as much as you can carry. And I was like, oh, but it was like a room full of books and memorabilia. And I was like trying my best, but I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
Girl, in your shirt, in your pants, some way, somehow, I'm figuring it
Balance them
out.
on my head.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You make that happen. You stuff your underwear and your pants and
Mhm.
your shirt and the bra and everything. Oh my God.
Oh gosh. Are any of the rest of you completists? Like, do you have to have the specific stuff in like that line?
Yeah, if it comes with a set, I need all of them. Like with Casper, you have to get the uncles. That's what makes all the set. Like for Guinness specifically, for us counting of what things are, a full set is like one item. So even more so, I need to complete it. But also for my sanity and mental health, I need to complete it. Just like the Pog collection, the a collector's card collection of the movies, and like I need every single VHS and every single language ever of Casper, and just everything, all of the tapes, the VHS tapes of all the vintage cartoons, even though they all have the same cartoons, each VHS tape cover is different. I need all of them. So yes, I need more stuff. I need more stuff.
And it's so bad because it's like an itch, and you're like, man, if I see it, and yeah, it is the
Yeah,
worst. They're
it's
still,
haunting.
Mm.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does kind of like just bother me when I don't have the complete set because I'm usually missing one or two things, and it's like I need to find it. I have the rest. What's the point of having the rest if I don't have them all?
Or when
Yeah.
people
Exactly.
point it out and they're like, oh, do you have this? And you're like, do you see it? No. So you're asking because and then they're like, oh, like that's what some people would do with the vinyls. They're like, oh, I know which one you're missing. And I'm like, not anymore, you don't. Mm-mm.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. I love that trivia with people messaging me. Do you have this? I bet you don't have this. And I'm like, haha, betcha.
Oh,
I
mystery
have
betting.
5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that I'm a bit of a completionist as far as the books go because I went down a rabbit hole of like they revised the texts at some point. So, like in the 30s and 40s, I believe it was in the 50s, they started to pare them down from like 25 chapter books to 20 chapter books. So, it really affected some of the stories. They're like completely different. So, I've collected all of those. And then some of the books have different cover artists. So they would like reimagine Nancy Drew over the years. So on some covers, she looks like she's straight out of the 50s, and others she's kind of wearing the 80s type of clothes. So it sounds crazy, but I have like the same title, but 4 different cover styles and variations. And I think that's kind of fun to just find those and check them off my list. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Wendy, you're not a completist.
I'm struggling to think. I really don't think that there is anything in my collection that I've been that way about. Where I'm like, oh, I'm missing something. If I really had to stretch, like it doesn't really bother me that I don't have all of these, but if I was going to like pick something where I'm like, okay, I know I don't have every single one, at some point it would be nice to have them all. Honestly, I feel like the only thing that I feel that strongly about would be that I don't have every issue of the Scooby comics that Archie did in the 90s. I mean, Scott did all those covers, and I feel weird not having, because Scott Gerald's, I mean, I won the jackpot because I started dating one of the guys that had a hand in Scooby, and it was the best thing ever because I love him to pieces. And so like I got the ultimate Scooby collectible as far as I'm concerned because I got Scott. Anyway.
Yeah,
but
girl.
No, those comics, the cover art, Scott Gerald's, Scott Ollie, fantastic. Definitely played a role in me wanting to be an artist growing up. And so if I was ever going to feel completist about something, it would be that someday I would like to get the rest of those covers, like the actual comic books, because I am missing actually quite a few of them, probably 7 or 8 of them. And there was only maybe 22 in the line, 23. So yeah, I would like to complete that. But yeah, it's so interesting because like I obviously know that Nikki likes to have like complete collections of things, but it's just not in me. I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm a snob and I'm picky with stuff. And it's like, if I don't like how that looks, then I'm like, well, why do I need it though? Because I mean, I do have limited space. So I have to be careful and be like, okay, well, if I don't have enough room for everything, then I have to focus on the things that like I really, really like them, simply for the practical reason of like, but where am I going to put it?
Yeah.
So there are like some things where I see them and I'm like, okay, well, that one looks really cute. Like those, Nikki, what are they called? The metal figures that just came out like this year.
Yeah.
They're really cute little, like, they're only like that high. To be honest, I only kind of like the Scooby and the Daphne. So those are the 2 that I found and I got them. And I have no desire to get the other ones. Like if someone were to gift me one or I saw one for like $1, like, yeah, I'm going to grab it. But I don't know. I'm kind of glad because I feel like I would go broke really fast if I wanted like full collections of everything. But yeah, no, I'm like, if I like it, I like it. And if I can afford it, I'll get it. And if I'm not fussy on it, I'm like, well, I'll wait for the next thing that comes along that like does make me feel like, oh, I would love to put that on my shelf.
Yeah. I would say there's one exception to that rule. Like, so these picture covers of the Nancy Drew books, they're kind of vintage looking. There's another set that's like just tweed, and I'm not super crazy about those. So that's like one whole, like, I kind of eliminated those because I was like, they're just not as cool on the shelf, and it's the same, story within the covers. But so
Y'all, if I worried about space, this whole room would not be covered. I know I'm out of space. I know I'm out of space, but I am still going for it. I have things that are just laying against the shelving right here along the floor, but I still have a big wide open area here for people to chill and watch Casper right there, or
Oh.
whatever else. But we still rocking the VCR and stuff. But I hear you on the comics there, girl, though, because I have I don't even know how many comics I have, maybe like 400 or so. I have
Wow.
like different kinds of Casper comics, and I have them
Uh-huh.
organized by what they are. Like there's the spooky comics. They count for Guinness because spooky is part of Casper. Then I have the Wendy Witch comics. I have Casper and Richie Rich. They are two people, not the same person. I will go to my grave arguing with you about that. Then there's Showtime, there's Casper the Friendly Ghost, there's Ghostly Trio, there's lots of other, there's variations of different Casper comics. I know I don't have every single one ever printed, and I don't even know if I ever will. So that's the only thing where I'm lenient as far as not completing, because that will break me, and I'm already out of space in those comic book boxes, and I don't know what to do about those, but it's not going to stop me. I'm kind of like I'm on the drive of never give up. Nothing's gonna stop me now, because because a lot of things stopped me growing up, silenced me. It was just terrible at how things were and stuff like that. Now it's like, nah, nothing's gonna stop me. Nothing's gonna wear me down. I'm gonna keep positive. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep doing this, and that's just me keep going. And every time someone tells me that's not possible, or you don't have no more space, my husband tells me you don't have no more space, but that's just him telling me because I wouldn't spend money. Like, no, we don't work that way here. I make things happen. I am the person, if there's a will, there's a way. You have my picture next to that quote on a dictionary. I make it happen. So yeah, that's me. That's my mentality. I'm crazy. It is what it is.
You mentioned finding the tank on Etsy. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Etsy, that people actually sold actual merchandise on there. And when I was looking for comics, I found the pup named Scooby-Doo comic on Etsy for $20, where
Wow.
eBay always had it for like $200.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's crazy how Etsy, out of all places, would have stuff like that, because they sometimes do sell vintage items. They're allowed to sell that kind of stuff. So that's why sometimes I pop into Etsy, and then like I'll see some bootleg Casper stuff. Those are the things that I don't have on here, really. I don't do the Casper bootleg because it's scary. But
we've
yeah,
seen some pretty scary Scooby
Oh yeah.
on
Yeah,
Etsy.
Yeah.
yes. Yes. Oh my God. It's like, no, I'm good. People, someone has gifted me before. Oh my God. I hope they don't see this. Someone gifted me before a knitted Casper, and it looked just like an alien. It was scary. The eyes were like this, and like the head was like this, and then like this. Like it was like really weird. And they're like, it's Casper, and I'm like, no, it's not.
It looks like those Pinterest fails, like when people made that lamb
Right,
cake
yeah.
for Easter and it's like all melted and it's like, well,
Yes,
we got it, we tried.
nailed it. Yes, so I'm like, oh, I really cherish anything Casper, but this is not Casper. This is an abomination to my man here. So yeah, there's a line I cross as far as like Casper items.
What is your most prized piece in your collection, and what is your holy grail? Wendy?
I mean, it's so hard. Like, definitely Holy Grail I can do. I think I don't know what is going on with my camera. I clicked some setting that I've never seen before, and it's like zooming in and out, and I'm like, why? Is Casper here messing with my computer? Like, Vanessa's over there, because I don't know what's going on. So hopefully this is not going to make it worse, but I feel like I will just like knock down the entire shelf if I try to take it out.
Because your
Okay,
name is Wendy.
Oh, exactly, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Wendy
So,
Witch.
in here, I don't know. There is the Scooby-Doo 1977 Imperial Toys push puppet. And this is like a little, Nikki has one of these too. There's a black bootleg in there, and then there's this little white bootleg, which was clearly made with her mold. I mean, she's seen some things. Yeah, she's seen.
Gosh.
Okay, everything's fine, not to worry. But yes, I loved Scooby-Doo from the first time I saw her. She had one single episode, but she had that pink collar and those big lashes, and I was all over it. And then when I was a kid and they were getting ready to launch Boomerang off of Cartoon Network, and all of these ads were like all these vintage toys, like, okay, no,
Did it again.
is it like a gesture? Can I?
It's a setting for your face. It centers you. So if you move like to the left, it's gonna center to the left.
I've been looking for it to
Yeah.
turn it off, but like it's not, I can't find it. So I'm very sorry. I promise I'm not like doing it unless you want to pretend like I'm magic. Wendy the good little witch if you want. But yes, so they've got all these cool vintage toys as like their promotional stuff for their ads. And here's these little push puppets. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a Scooby-Doo. And for years, I wasn't sure, like, is it a real thing? Did they just make it for the promotions? Because there's also, as part of those Boomerang things, there's like a Johnny Quest game that looks absolutely amazing. It doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. So the Scooby-Doo, I wasn't even sure she was real. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, and there's a Scooby-Dum and a Scooby as well. That was my holy grail item since I first saw her on Boomerang. And someone contacted me. When I got one of the little bootleg ones, I did a blog post about it. And a few years later, someone in Texas, of all places, like, I'm in Northern Ontario, Canada. I'm so far from Texas, it's not funny. And this person wrote me and was like, hey, I saw your blog post and that you were, looking for this. And he's like, my wife just bought this bag of toys from, the thrift store today for like $3, and this was in it. And it's like a mint condition Scooby-Doo push puppet. And I'm like, why can't I find that at the thrift store?
Right?
What's this going to cost me? It's like, I'm not paying $100 for it. I'm not going to do it. And he was so, so nice though. And he's like, I was just wondering, like, would you be interested in buying it? And I said, listen, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I would love to buy this from you, but like, this is my budget and I cannot and will not go a penny over it. And I was like, you can take it or leave it. I'm like, I guarantee you can find someone who will pay more than me. I guarantee it. So I'm like, there will be no hard feelings if you don't want to take my offer. I totally understand. I was like, shipping included, I can do $50 Canadian. And that's it. I'm like, that is my maximum on this. And he's like, do you think you could do 60? And I said, I'm so sorry. I'm like, you can make 60 on it. I'm like, you can probably make 100 on her if you list her somewhere. But I'm like, 50 is my limit. And he's like, you know what? I feel like she will go to a good home with you. Yes. And I sent him a check, and she took almost 2 full months to get here. And we were so convinced that she was just lost in the mail and that was going to be that. And then she just randomly showed up one day, and there she is, and she's amazing, and I love her. And so she was my number one holy grail item. As far as like my most prized possession, it's a toss up between my original large Mighty Star Scooby and definitely my favorite comic that Scott Gerald's did was this issue where Shaggy and Scooby are like werewolves on the cover. And like, that was my cover growing up. And then when I met Scott and we got together and stuff, he gifted me the original artwork for that. That was a huge deal. That is definitely one of my prized possessions. But also he's a little squirt toy. So you can put him underwater and, he can squirt water and stuff. He came from Pizza Hut, and my mom passed away when I was 13. And when I was like 9, I think is when this came out. And we went to Pizza Hut one day and all excited, buffet. Where's the Pizza Hut buffet, guys? I miss that so much. They had a sign on the door. There was Scooby, there was Dino. And like up here where I live, you didn't see Scooby at the store. That was not a thing. We had to go south to visit family before I could find anything Scooby related. There was very little up here. And so we saw that on the door, and I lost my mind at like 9 years old. I was so excited. And then immediately I was so disappointed because he was part of the kids' meal. And they're like, yeah, we don't just sell the toys. Like, you'll have to get the kids' meal. And I was so bummed because all I wanted was the stupid Caesar salad. That's what I wanted. And I was just like, ugh. But obviously I wanted the Scooby. And my mom like reaches across the table. She's like, it's fine. She's like, it's fine. And so she ordered me the kids' meal, which we just took home. And she's like, I'll just bring you extra on my plate. And so she got the buffet. And so I still got the buffet and I got the Scooby toy. And so he is very like, again, collecting, I think, should be about bringing joy. And so memories and nostalgia are a really big part of that. I don't know that there is anything in this room that if you were like, hey, where'd you get that? I couldn't tell you. I'm pretty sure I could tell you where everything came from, who gave it to me, what was going on in my life at the time. And so this is like, it's like one little memory that I have that is so good about my mom and the kind of person that she was too. You know, just like how she worked that out and like diffused me from being really upset about something that was nothing to be upset about. But like, you're 9 years old, right? So he's very special to me. And a few years ago, I actually found that I still had like the little paper that came with him, like the little advertisement. So he's up on the wall here somewhere. And I was so excited to find that. But yeah, he's maybe my prized possession after my Mighty Star one, because like he just reminds me of my mom. I can't look at him without reliving that day. And like there was nothing bad in that day. It was just one perfect memory. And that's not something that I can ever do again. So as long as I have him, I can do it again. If that makes sense. It might be weird, but that's kind of how I feel about it.
Oh, Wendy.
Avery, what is your most prized piece in your collection, and what is your holy grail?
Gosh, this is actually several things, but similar. I think it's interesting how we all have these memories tied with our collections, and then the people that we love, our family members or friends that got us into the collecting. But I came across a estate sale listing, I guess it was back in 2023, and just based on like one blurry picture where I was like, I think those are Nancy Drew books on that shelf. I convinced my dad to drive like 4 hours with me to this estate sale, and I was not even sure if any of the books would still be there, you know, because in order to get there, we would have had to leave like 3, 4 in the morning or something. So I was like, we're not doing that. We're just going to leave at a normal time. And if they're there, they're there. And if they're not, that's fine too. And got there, and most of the books were still there. And so it was like 70 plus Nancy Drew books, like paperbacks, which, you know, a lot of times in the community, people kind of devalue the paperbacks. I'm not really sure why. They have more of an attachment to the older books, but sometimes those are more frail and, you know, a little bit more worn condition. But I remember going to the man who was running the estate sale, and I just kind of haggled with him, and I was like, well, if I took all these Nancy Drew books like off the shelf and took them, you know, away, what's the best price you could give me on those? And he was like, how about $40? And I was like, okay, deal.
Wow.
So got all of those, and it was just a fun memory because me and my dad went and did that, and that's kind of what inspired me to start a podcast. And then it's also kind of like twofold, because a lot of the books, you know, because a lot of times when people have estate sales, it's because a family member has passed away. The woman that owned that house, her name was embossed in a lot of those books. So whenever I open those up, I see her name, and it just kind of makes me smile. And I wonder, you know, what would she think of the fact that, you know, I took most of her collection and now it's kind of fell into mine. So it's just kind of neat. And so, yeah, every time I look at that row of books, because they're just really colorful, I think of her, and then I think of my dad. So
It's really sweet.
That's so special.
Yeah. And I forgot Holy Grail item. So I would love to find a first edition of probably the first book in the series, which is Secret of the Old Clock. And if I could find that signed by the original ghostwriter, which that's such a like needle in a haystack kind of thing, because I think there's only like 30 or less. That would be really, really cool.
Nice.
Hope you
Vanessa,
find
what
that.
is your most
Yes.
what is your most prized piece and what is your holy grail?
Well, I have a few. I suppose, but of course, my OG Casper right there, because he helped get me through a lot of tough times since I was a little girl. He's the one I cuddled with, cried with, and stuff like that. So he's seen a lot. So that's very special. And of course, another thing that people always ask me if I have is the Casper candelabra that's right there. And that one is special because, and he's twisted because he broke years ago and my late grandpa fixed it for me.
Oh.
So that's why that one is extremely special because his love is in that, and he knew how much I loved Casper. So he made sure that it was fixed and I wasn't going to be sad anymore. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get another one, Grandpa. I can fix it for you. And he fixed it for me. And so that those two are my most special things. Let's see. I have a few Holy Grails. Movie props. I bet y'all can't guess what movie props I have from the Casper movie. And I wish it was Devon Sawa's t-shirt. Because damn. I assume that all of y'all have seen Casper.
Yes.
Yeah,
Nope.
because then, you know, you'd be in trouble. Andrew, oh, I'm seeing you
Blasphemy.
tomorrow, and
We were there at the
That's it.
theater together.
I know. Anywho, you better have seen it before then anyways. So you know that scene of Casper and Kat when they were up in the attic and Casper was remembering how he passed away. And Kat looked on the ground and she saw a lot of the newspapers. They're right here.
Oh,
Wow.
So these newspapers are dated 1994,
wow.
and I have two of them.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
So those are like really prized possessions because they were in the movie. They were touched by Christina Ricci, my queen herself. And those are amazing. Devin told me, he's like, how the heck did you get your hands on those? And I was like, well, an online auction. And those I was very, very blessed for the price because I remember it being Christmas Day. And I was there looking at the auction and I was with my husband and I was like, okay, how much can I go up? How much can I, how much, please? They both started at $35 each. I got them for $35 each. No one else bid on them.
That's great.
I was blessed. I was blessed. These are authentic props from the Casper movie. Oh my gosh. So those are that's even better. That's even better.
Yeah.
So,
We bow down. Like that's amazing.
That's how you know you're like, oh my God. One thing I've always wanted was the Casper cookie jar, and I finally got that. That was one of my holy grail items right there, because they would always want $500 for it, and I did not pay $500 for it. That was my $100 purchase right there. I was like, okay, that's fine, I'll take it. But other than that, you kind of get the gist of everything else that I said before. But yeah, and well, another thing of holy grail would be like anything that Christina signed. Because she's one hard person to get. So like I had the cast sign my other world record. I mean I have, it's the same world record, but I bought another one so that I can get the cast to sign it. I don't know if you can see it.
That's really neat.
Christina signed it. Kathy Moriarty, Devon Sawa, and Joe Napolti signed it so far.
Oh, that's really
If you know who those people are, I mean, I could specify. You guys know who Devon Sawa is, at least. Christina.
Of course.
Joe Napolti's Uncle Stretch, and Kathy Moriarty is Kerrigan. Dibs! Kathy's actually a really nice lady in person. So my son, who he loves her, she loves him and stuff like that. She's like she's mean in the movie, but she's so nice in person. I'm like, yes, she's amazing. She's so sweet. But yeah, that's basically it. I can have you all here talking all day about everything, but yeah.
Andrew, what is your most prized piece in your collection, and what is your holy grail?
God, that's such a hard one. My collection is because of my family. So it's so hard. Um, so I would, I guess, label it items that I would grab if there was a fire, because that's typically how I would.
Oh, perfect.
Terrifying
Yeah.
because I'm afraid I would run right back into a burning building, regardless if I got the items or not. But there is and I would have grabbed it, but it's almost as tall as me. It's a painting of Selena in her Grammy dress. You can actually find this painting in the museum, at her favorite restaurant, at the Selena Auditorium in Corpus Christi, Texas. And so, it's in a few places, and in here at my home. So that would probably one of my that was the first thing. Anytime I move, it's always the last item that moves because it moves with me. So that would be one of them. I think another one would be, so Selena was on the Time magazine, which not a lot of people know about. She made it on the Time magazine, but it was only released at international airports. So it wasn't released like on shelves and HEB or things like that. Did not happen. It was only on international flights where you could find it. And so it wasn't even in the States of the United States, like it was international flights where you would find it. And I remember, I kept wanting it and never saw it. And finally, a good friend of mine now, she reached out to me and she was like, "Hey, I'm selling my collection. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, are you kidding me?" And it's in such good condition. But I mean, so many things, like kind of like everyone else was saying about how they have memories. Like I have things that I remember from stores that were around when I was like maybe 8, 9 years old. And then next thing you know, they're going out of business. And I'm like, "Oh, you still have, the Selena item." I was looking around like, what would I say? And it's literally, it's like an official distributor. So it's not like a local thing you could just go out and get. And I remember seeing it as a kid and, I'm able to get that. Maybe my very first item, the Dreaming of You album. It's just so hard. So for me, a lot of my family are gone, unfortunately. I've lost quite a bit of my family. And so everyone who was part of my collection isn't here anymore. And, part of the Guinness World Record was to say thank you to them. So that's why it would be so hard to pick out those items just because everything holds such a close spot in my heart.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew.
For me, Bob Singer, he was an artist. He worked on Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? He is still alive. He is 90, he's going to be 98, right?
Oh, wow.
98, 99? Yeah.
Way to go.
So we interviewed him on the panel. And before I had interviewed him, maybe a year before I think we had him on, I had mentioned to him that there was a drawing he did, Graveyard Cafe. It's Scooby and Shaggy, and there's all these villains with like a haunted house. And it's a huge piece. It wasn't, just like a quick sketch or anything. But I had mentioned that I really liked it and would he do prints of it? Well, it was a commission he did for somebody. So he couldn't do prints because he didn't have it. And the person that had it said that it was too big for them to make prints of. So Bob Singer redrew it. And during our interview said, "Oh, you asked me a while ago about prints. I redrew the one that you liked so that I could make prints." And he sent me a print of it signed by him.
Oh my gosh.
That is cool.
That is definitely my prized possession for sure.
Yeah.
And my holy grail, there are these were they Burger King toys, the Argentina ones? There was the
Yes.
Dracula ones.
Yes.
Yeah, so there were these Burger King toys that were made in Argentina, and I have 3 of them, but I want all of them, and I've been trying to find them. And they're so hard to find because they're so hard to, like, if you search Burger King toys, you typically just get the ones that were made in the US. But if you search Argentina, then you're not really getting a whole lot of what I actually want. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Wendy, I think Wendy has, you have 2 of them?
I'm
You
Oh
have,
no, I have the whole set
you have all,
except for the
okay.
planes, just the plain Scooby I'm missing, which
Oh,
is
okay.
fine because I only wanted the monsters anyway. But yeah, they are like
They're so
some of the
cool.
nicest toys I think
Mhm.
that they've made for like fast food.
Oh,
He's like a
wow.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's like all of the different monsters. There's a mummy and Dracula and Frankenstein, and they are just super well done. They're very on model and like they nailed like the mashup between Scooby and then like Universal monsters. Yeah. But they are very difficult to find. Yeah. I honestly didn't even know that these were like a whole set until like 2 years ago, maybe. And I
Wow.
thought there was just like the one little guy, but no, yeah, they're amazing. They're really nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
When you collect, do you collect things in the box or out of the box? Andrew, we'll start with you.
so that's a hard one, because not a lot of Selena are in boxes. So, I guess I would use it more on the vinyl side. It would have to be in its packaging unless it didn't have one. Its sleeve for the most part, but um, another thing with me too is besides the vinyls and a few things on the wall, everything else is in storage to be preserved. And so, I don't really have things outside of the vinyls displayed, but I would consider the Barbie dolls and the statues and the Funko Pops. Um, yeah, they would have to be in the boxes. I'm just weird like that, but yeah, it'd have to be for sure in boxes for me.
Yeah. Vanessa, in or out of the box?
Well, I always think out of the box, but as far as my toys, I need them in. uh, preferably, I would like for things to be in their original packaging. That's where I try to look for. For instance, I had a Casper watch for the longest time, and just recently I found that same Casper watch in its original packaging. So what I did was I switched them out, and now I have it in the original packaging in the collection, and then the loose watch. Well, I can't exactly wear it because it's a children's watch. It don't fit around me no more. But my little boy can wear it, or I can use it in part of my Casper Traveling Museum exhibit type thing. But whenever I look for things, I try to get it. They need to be in the packaging. Like all of my Casper figures that are over there, and then over there, they're in their boxes. I don't have any loose figurines. I look for them in the box because they could be missing some pieces and stuff. Same with the big Casper toys that are up there that were released after the movie. When I first got those were out of the box, and Fatso was missing like the tomatoes that he's supposed to come out with, and Casper's eyes, whenever you squeeze his belly, his eyes are supposed to pop out. It wasn't really working. So it's like, okay, defective things, missing things when they're out of the packaging. So like as a collector, it needs to be in the box, in the package. So yeah, same with Andrew.
Avery, how about you?
I'd have to agree. In the box is always better than out of the box because sometimes you have pieces that are missing or things that can be defective. But when it comes to books, occasionally I've come across like sets of 3 or 4 that had a box that they came in. That's kind of nice to find. But really, dust jackets. It's so hard to find these flimsy paper dust jackets from the 1930s, especially. Like they're crumbling, they're holding on to their last little breath of life there. So I've been lucky enough to find a few books with dust jackets, but they're not nearly in mint condition. So I treasure those. But yeah, those are pretty hard to find.
Oh yeah.
Wendy, or in or out of the box?
Okay, well, I'm gonna be the odd man out here. Unless the packaging is like super amazing and somehow for me personally adds to the visual appeal of the actual item itself. If that is the case, then yes, absolutely leave it in the package. Case in point, Nikki gifted me this like custom Wendy Scooby panel Funko Pop for Christmas a few years ago.
Aw.
Obviously, the packaging is half of what it is, and it's amazing. Never coming out of the box. I love it like that. But this is just my personal thing. I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen a collection of anything that I didn't think looked cool. So like, this is just my own personal preference, but like, I like how things look when they're out of the box, simply because I feel like you can get more things in this one little spot. And I grew up with an aunt who was also a collector, much less discriminant than me, because she just, I mean, she taught me that you have to control your collection cannot control you, because her entire house that she shared with my grandma and her husband became her collection room. And then you couldn't touch anything and you couldn't move. And I mean, it was out of control, and it wasn't okay because it was hard for other people to live there. So I did learn control by seeing like, okay, you don't need to take it to the extreme. But because she often went to like little shops and antique stores and things like that, a lot of what she would find, and because she liked older things as well, like vintage dolls and stuff, most of her things were like, a lot of it was out of the box. And her upstairs bedroom, when she was a kid, she converted that into her main collection room. And when I was little, I mean, it was a rare occasion, but it was very special if I got invited to go up into the room, to the collection room. And basically, I was just allowed to sit on the floor and just like take it in. And I loved it. I loved it. There was so much to look at. I'm very much a visual person, and just being able to like see layers of things like excites me, because it's I don't know, I find it very stimulating for my brain, and it gets my imagination going. So for me, I just love a mix of the two. I do have a number of things that are still in the packaging. Sometimes I'm bummed out because I'm like, okay, well, this is a really cool vintage item and I have the box for it, and I don't feel right getting rid of the box. But to me, it's a hindrance to the actual item itself. So I'm like, okay, well, am I that person that stores empty boxes? Maybe. I'm not going to say yes or no. Sometimes you need like a little booster in like a little corner of your collection. That's what those things are great for. I want to keep the box. I know that I have it, but I also don't want to leave the thing in the box. So that's a lot of what I end up doing. But yeah, I just like a mix of both. If it looks better in or out, I will leave it in or out, basically. But I don't know that there's anything that I would like limit myself to, like where, okay, well, if I see it out of the box, I'm not going to get it because I'm waiting for it in the box. I don't know that there's anything I feel strongly enough about where I would have that limitation on it. I don't know that there's anything that I have ever seen where I was like, oh, the box like makes that completely. And so without it, I just don't even think I would want to spend the money on it. I'm all about finding like just like little loose things. And you already know if it's broken or it needs some kind of like extra love. Because I also have this soft spot for like, because I'm pretty sure I have every toy that I ever had growing up. I was always the kid that I played with my toys, but I also looked after them. I wanted, like, when I'm done playing for the day, I want a shelf where I can just enjoy them. And from the time I was really little, I was like that. So like nothing has changed. But yeah, it's just nice to sometimes like see something that would otherwise be thrown away. And I might not know its personal history. You know, I might not get to know the person who owned it or like what their story is or if it had meaning to them. But to me, if it's wore out, it sort of indicates that somebody loved it and it meant something to somebody else. And I kind of, with a lot of things, I'm like, well, if it meant something to somebody else, it means something to me. And I want to like preserve that it was important to somebody. And it would be nice to like if ghosts are walking around and they're sort of seeing like, oh, where's that that thing that I had that I just loved it so much? Where did it go? And how sad and heartbroken those people would be to know that it's in a landfill somewhere. Whereas it's like, okay, well, how would I feel if in 100 years I'm wandering around and I was like, oh my gosh, someone has that on their shelf and they are appreciating it. Not because they have a connection to it, but because I had a connection to it and maybe they had a connection to me. So I don't know. I like loose things, but I do like in the box stuff too. I don't think there's like a right or wrong answer to that. I think whatever you want it to be, that's what you should collect. And you should, if people are pushing you like, oh no, you need to branch out and have loose figures, or oh no, you have to just do the in the box. Like, you do you. The stuff that you want, that is valid. Whatever, however you want to collect it, however you want to display it, you should be able to do it, because again, that is an investment in your happiness. And if somebody doesn't like it, they can take it up with your ghost after you're dead.
Oh, absolutely. And I go for that. I go for that and can confirm the ghosts are literally, they still walking around. If anyone could talk to you about ghosts, it's me, not just the friendly ghost, but in ghosts in general, because I do have ones that live in those.
Oh, okay.
You don't think that I got friendly ghosts, actual ones in this collection, though they don't count in Guinness World Records, just the outer part, not the inner part. But they are friendly specters. I am a paranormal investigator. I am in the paranormal field and stuff like that. And I am a sensitive. So, yeah, those are the kinds of events that I do. A lot of paranormal events. But hey, Casper the Friendly Ghost, they have me over there too. But yes, can confirm about ghosts. I'll talk to you about that.
So for me, in or out of the box, it depends on what it is. I tend to keep things in the box just because I don't like dusting. So if it stays in the box, I don't really have to dust it. So that works for me. But yeah, it does depend on what
True.
And I've found some things cheaper without the box. So yeah, I can forgo the box if I have to, but I also store empty boxes.
Oh, same. I have mine in the closet.
What is the craziest gift that you've received from someone? Andrew?
Ooh, I mean, it's such a hard one, only because people know not to gift me Selena stuff anymore because they don't know what I have and I don't have.
Yeah.
And I'm the same with Vanessa about, official, unofficial. I'm more of the official side. I guess that would have to be a unique gift is an unofficial item that I got for Christmas, for my mom. Bless her heart, she tried. To gift me shot glasses that someone made with putting decal stickers on them as Selena. And I was like, when I opened them, I'm like, oh, I don't know if you've seen that video, Mom, I love you if you ever watch this. The thought is what counts. But have you seen the video where it's a little kid, they're like, oh, an avocado. Dang. That was just me. I was like, oh, shot glasses. And my mom was like, there's Selena. And I was like, yeah. In my head, I'm just like, these are not real. They're unofficial. I just, bless her heart, she tried. I love her to death, but that would have to be the most unique one. Just because people know not to gift me Selena, just because it's like I said, it's the thought that counts. But I'm that person that's like, oh my God, I have this already, but thank you. Like, and it's no ill intention. It slips out. And I don't mean it. Just like when people, I don't know what it is, my brain doesn't think. When people say something, I remember so off topic random, but this person was like, oh, I'm 42. And I was like, oh, that's how old my dad was when he died. Don't ask me why. My mind just has to connect something.
Yeah.
But yeah, shot glasses would be the most unique gift. And I still have them, even though they didn't count the collection. Because, oh, and another one, I just remember too. Mom bought me coloring books of
Oh.
Selena and Gomez, which they're not the same, bless her heart. But I'm looking at them and she's like, "Do you have them?" And I'm like, "Well, no, but they're also not the same person." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "This is Selena Gomez." She's like, "But it's Selena." And I'm like, "Gomez, not my,
Oh,
oh, bless your heart, mom." But yeah, so we've gotten some unique ones.
That's funny.
oh, you're giving me ideas for gag gifts for you, Andrew.
Oh gosh.
Love you.
Vanessa, what's the craziest gift that you've received from someone?
Oh, I'm still thinking about that plush. The crocheted one. I should probably dig in my closet. You probably curious of what that thing looks like. But that's what that's why it's in the closet. That's why it's not out here with my pile of Caspers that I have on my chair. It's in there. But that's the most interesting thing I'd say, because other than that, like a lot of people, they give me some stuff because a lot of people, they learn the hard way to ask first. Because I also would say, oh, because it's hard for me to hide it, because they're like, "Do you have this?" I was so excited when I found it. I was like, yeah, but yours looks a lot better, so I'm gonna switch it out in the collection. I have to say something. But then, sometimes whenever it's like a really delicate situation, I'm like, no, I didn't have this. And then, I did, but I appreciate things regardless and stuff. But a lot of things that people do gift me is the most found thing that you could find of Casper, because he's so hard to find. Besides the new stuff that they made Loungefly, they brought out the blankets in Burlington. They make new stuff of Casper. But as far as like the older items and stuff like that, it's harder to find. But the one thing you can't find is the VHS when you're thrifting. So whenever my friends give them to me, I use them as risers. Do you see them right there?
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's how I'm able to lift up the purses
Yep.
so that they can be displayed. So I use them as risers. I have the extras underneath the the
Awesome.
shelving. There's a box right there. And let me show you the infamous Casper plush, because that one is hiding back here. Well, let me show you first the one that I made. It's not so scary.
Oh, he's cute.
Aw.
I tried. He
Oh.
doesn't have a neck, but okay. Here's this one. I don't think that person's ever gonna see this, but
Oh, he's really cute. Oh,
He's kind of
he's
got a
seen,
whimsical
he's
little
seen some
smirk.
things.
He's
Okay.
oh.
y'all are being nice. It's okay.
Oh.
He got wet. He got wet, or you fed him after a set time. Bless
Yeah.
his heart.
Yeah.
Oh, come
But
on. You
he's
guys know
pushing
what Casper
forward.
looks like. When I got this, I would have never envisioned it was Casper. It looked like a potato. So I was like, oh, how nice. And here he goes near
It's your avocado.
an avocado. Yes. So that would have to be the strangest thing anyone's ever given me. But hey, you want to see one of the coolest things someone has given me? Someone made me this Casper piñata.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
that's
Oh,
cool.
that's great.
It was
That's
for my
awesome.
birthday.
Yeah.
I'm not breaking it. I just have it here.
Awesome.
Oh.
But yeah, whoever's next, I'm sorry. I blab on.
Avery, what is the craziest gift that you've received from someone?
I wouldn't say I'm not super like just since I started the podcast only a couple years ago, I haven't gotten anything that I would consider crazy, but I have had some really thoughtful followers that have sent me like books that I was searching for. And a lot of times, like in that community, we all have that list on our phone of like a note that we're like, okay, I'm missing this title, this title. And so sometimes it's been fun to like help them complete their collections and vice versa. But I've had so many thoughtful people send me books. Someone sent me like a limited edition Nancy Drew wallet that I didn't even know existed. So that was kind of cool.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think. Just notes that people have sent, or just like trying to think like craft things. Like nobody's knit me anything or like made anything like that. But some people have made like collage, like things with excerpts from the books. Like it was obviously like a book that was kind of like on its last leg or something, but it's kind of fun because they made it a mystery for me, and they're like, I want you to guess just based on this paragraph what book this is from. So it's kind of like a little mystery that I got to solve, and I guessed right, it was the Haunted Showboat. And so it's just kind of fun and interactive, and I thought it was kind of cool, kind of like those mystery in a box things that people can order and stuff. So that's fun. I think it's cool when people find things or make things and send them to me just because they thought of me. So
Yeah.
I love that.
yeah.
Wendy, the craziest gift that you've received?
Well, I'm a very boring person, so I don't think anyone would ever send me anything that's like crazy or weird. However, I think that how this person got me what they got me is the craziest part. So my friend Megan, we have been friends since we were 4 years old. We are going to be 40 next year. So it's been a long time. And she regularly enables my Scooby addiction. And she's great for that. Megan, I love you. And a few years ago, they have these Scooby greeters most years. We don't often get them where I am in Canada. I've gotten a couple here, but I see them get them in the States and I'm jealous. They are quite large. Nikki, what would they be like? They're more than 2 feet tall, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like 25, 26 inches.
Yeah,
I think.
they're a fair size. And usually Scooby is like wearing something. Sometimes they get a little boring. They had a Christmas one year where he was just a plain Scooby with antlers. That's all they did. They didn't do anything else. And then they get more fancy and they gave him like a red heart cape and a whole little suit for Valentine's Day. Oh. So my friend Megan one day sends me this photo and she's like, look what we found at the store. And Tim, that's her husband, said we had to get it for you. And it's a Scooby greeter in a full pink bunny suit for Easter. He's got ears. He's adorable. He's in this suit and he's like 2 feet tall. Wow. They live in Missouri. And when they came to visit the next time and brought me my Scooby, they brought him on a plane and had him, like she had him with her on the plane. So Scooby took a plane trip from Missouri to Northern Ontario just to come and join my collection. And I thought that I don't know why, but that just tickled me so hard because I don't know that I would have the guts to do that myself. Like get on a plane with like a full, like a 2-foot Scooby-Doo toy that's pink with bunny ears.
Oh, I
don't know that I could do it.
Oh, please tell me that they documented every step of his journey. Like he's checking in at TSA.
I wish there was more pictures. You have no idea. I wish I would have made him his own little storybook. Maybe I'll illustrate a storybook someday of like Easter Scooby coming to Northern Ontario. But yes. I just thought that was like the sweetest thing ever for them to buy such a ridiculous thing to have to bring with you. You know, usually it's like, okay, get something small so we can shove it in a suitcase. But that she just was like, nope, we're getting it and we're bringing it to you. Scooby's coming on the plane. I'm glad they didn't charge her an extra ticket for him because that I would have felt really bad about. But yeah, so he is over there. He has a nice little spot. And I feel like that's a reasonably crazy story. He's not a crazy item, but like, who does that? Who brings a giant Scooby on a plane? My friends.
Oh,
my
Megan
friends
sure
do that
does.
for me.
That's bestie material right there. I love that.
I don't really have any like crazy stories, but my reaction when I got something was like, oh my God, like this is insane. Dave Nimitz, I bought most of his Scooby collection from him at one point, but he had kept some of the stuff that he really wanted. And the one day he was just like, oh, I sent something to you. And I was like, oh, what is it? He's like, you'll see it when you get it. And I was like, okay. So I opened it and it was the Scooby-Doo push puppet. And I just like kind of set it on the kitchen counter and I'm just looking at it and I'm like, is this thing real? Like, am I dreaming right now? This is crazy. Why would somebody just send this to me? Like, he just sent it. And yeah, I was like, whoa, this is too much. And I messaged him. I'm like, you sure you want me to have this? I'll send it back to you. He's like, no, it should be with you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So
I love that.
yeah. Yeah, but my reaction was just like, no, this is not real. Like, is this real? I don't know.
You for real? It's for real.
What item in your collection has the most unexpected backstory? Andrew?
Ooh,
Mm.
oh good Lord. It's so hard just because all the items truly have their own backstory. That's a really hard one. Only because, like I said, everything really has their backstory from families. Um, I guess I would talk about Max Selena, I guess would be a crazy backstory. So long story short, if y'all don't know about much of Selena collaborations that happened, Max Selena did this big old collaboration. It was pretty big. It sold out within minutes. It was a very successful collection they did. So much they did a second one that also sold out within minutes. Well, so they did the world premiere in Corpus Christi, Texas, my hometown, and of course, Selena's. And I remember, I went through it and I'm looking at all this stuff, like the display of it, like the banners on the walls. I'm looking at the carpet, I'm looking at the display, and I'm like, man, like this is cool, right? And I'm looking at everyone's badges. My friend, she was a makeup artist there, so they had like the cool badges and the t-shirts, and I'm like, I'm that person who like Wendy said about, the visual and just taking everything in. That's me, like looking at all of this, like they had a giant light of Selena's signature, and I was like, man, I can put that in my living room. Like that would look so great. I'm just looking at everything. Well, I got the makeup and all that stuff. Wasn't really fishing for stuff. Years later, someone's selling the carpet from the event because the carpet was just normal carpet that Mac painted, had dyed specially purple for the event. And I was like, what am I going to do with carpet? Did I buy the carpet? I did. Is it now my kitchen rug under my table? Absolutely. And then next thing you know, I get, and I'll show you here because this next thing, I get this little purple bin where the makeup's set on top of. So I got that, and then I got someone's lanyard from the event. I got someone's t-shirt from the makeup artist. And so I'm ending it up with all these little pieces from the same event. But I think the crazy one would be a tie between the carpet because they threw them in the dumpsters. Someone went dumpster diving for carpet and then sold it. And, fun fact, the carpet is actually also in the Selena Museum. So it's crazy that I have the exact same carpet they have. And then the other one would be the t-shirt. I really, really wanted it, like really wanted it because I had the lanyard. And so when your boy's heart is set on something, you find it some way, somehow. And I remember I went through the hashtags and tags on Instagram from the event. I'm messaging every single makeup artist who had that t-shirt on, and I'm just like, hey, random question for you. And I came across one. Other people had it, but they were like, oh, I'll sell it for 600. And I'm just like, no, it's okay. I found one who she's like, I'm just gonna give it to you for free. And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, you're, a big fan. I can tell by that. It's gonna go to a good home. And so the last piece of the whole Max Selena first launch, because there's a whole story for the second launch, but the first launch, the last item that came into my possession for that was the PR box that I randomly stumbled across because it's just a purple box. It's nothing really special, but inside it had like a little note from Selena's mom that talks about, thank you so much, for, still caring about my daughter and our legacy. And so, yeah, so the whole Max Selena would probably be the craziest backstory for my items.
I love that.
Yeah. Vanessa, what item in your collection has the most unexpected backstory?
I was thinking really hard because I already told you the backstory of the banner I have hanging there, my movie props, the tank, my first Casper. I'm like, oh my gosh, a lot of these do have stories, but okay, one that popped in my head right now. Let's go down here. Move my chair. So Casper, and I'm gonna go and Andrew talking about makeup made me think about the Casper makeup line. That what's it called? Profusion. I was all like, that's not Pronamel. Pronamel's the toothpaste. Profusion came out with a Casper line for Halloween 2 years ago. And it came out in other states first because in Texas we don't get nothing but in the butt of the time. So a lot of my friends around other states would find the pieces and I would have to pay for them and pay shipping, stuff like that, to get the whole set. And then I would be calling my Walgreens every single day for 2 weeks. I talked to each manager and I'm like, let me tell you, I need the full set and I need the display also. So finally, I mean, after receiving the whole set, a couple of them and spending 5 times more because I had to pay shipping and stuff like that, it finally came to San Antonio, the sets. And so I talked to one manager and then I was able to go and look at it because they hadn't pulled it out yet. She's like, we can't sell the display, we can't sell the set yet, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fine, whatever. And then I was like, fine, I'll come back for it. Because I wasn't going to buy all the individual makeup because I already had it because people sent it to me. And I was just wanting to buy the display. So she never called me back and stuff like that. But whatever, this one manager at one Walgreens called me, said, we just got in the crate. We got the Casper collection out. I got your phone number. So if you want to come get it, I'll have it out here for you. And I'm like, oh, bet. I threw on a bra, put on my clothes, and because whenever I gotta put on a bra, it means serious. Because I'm here at home, I'm just gonna wing it. Anyways, I ran over there, and then the whole set was there waiting for me, including the display.
That's so
And
cool.
I wish I could say that she gave it to me free. No. I had to pay for it. I paid for every single item here. There's 2 of each item. 2 of each item, and I had to pay for every single item in order to get the display for free. So that was fun. But I walked out with a big smile on my face holding the big thing. I even made a TikTok video about it. It was pretty cool. And then last year, I think it was this year. I don't know. Time goes by really weird, really fast when you're a ghost. In February, they made a Valentine's one with Hot Stuff, the Little Devil with Casper. Here it is. Right there.
Wow.
I don't know if y'all can see it. Hopefully y'all can see it.
Yeah.
You see the Hot
That's
Stuff?
really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So that was supposed to be only at Walmart. I go to every Walmart. And a friend had posted about it. She's like, hey, I got the display of this. And she's all like, if you don't find it, I'll send it to you. And I'm like, Oh my gosh. So I was like, I don't need just the display. I need everything. So I went to a few Walmarts and then I was like, hey, I need to get the display and I'll buy all the makeup with it and stuff like that. And then one Walmart was so dumb. One guy was all like, well, I asked the manager and she said that after the makeup sells, we need the display because we're going to restock it. So like that, I'm like, okay, you guys don't restock it. It's Valentine's. You guys won't keep restocking it for months because he was indicating that they're going to keep stocking it for months. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And I could bet your job on it. You lie. So I was like, you know what? We're not getting anywhere here. I go to another Walmart. This Walmart has everything locked up behind a case. America. And they had this, and so I had to be careful with my words. So I was like, okay, can I buy all of this? And I'm gonna get the display also. And I'm like, it's a Valentine's Day collaboration. It's only available for the next 2 weeks, and you guys are not restocking. So the guy was like, yeah, that's true. And then he went and got the managers to be able to get it out and stuff like that. And the manager was like, yeah, that's fine. You could just take the display, you buy all the makeup. We're not getting any more. And I'm like, I know. So my happy little butt be walking out of Walmart with all of that. And then that was it's a lot of money, you guys, all this makeup. But as a collector, you got to have it all. Like I said earlier too, I'm the one full set. I need the full set. But luckily, they're not too expensive so much. It's like $150 for like the whole thing, both of them and stuff. So it worked out pretty okay. The Walgreens one was like buy one, get one 30% off. It was like something like that. So it helped. It helped in my case like that. And and all the stuff that my friends sent me, I was able to use because those were extras. And then I have some displaying in the Casper Museum. So, yeah, I would say that that's my cool story about the makeup adventures. And I'd say Profusion is the only brand that remotely saw me because they saw my TikTok of me stocking this up, and then they shared my video on their stories and on their page, and they're like, the Guinness World Record holder of Casper has this and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my God, they noticed me. And then I'm like, please make more Casper items and please remember me. I will need it and I will love it and I'll appreciate it. I wish that Loungefly would notice me because their stuff's expensive. I've tried. It's like, send them to me. Don't send them to other random influencers. Send them to me because I will treasure them. Oh my God, me and Andrew were talking about this earlier. So I'm like, we need these things. God. So yeah, I could go venting throughout about that. But yeah, I'll keep y'all here. Andrew.
Gosh.
So yeah.
As far as like unexpected backstory, so my husband works in the entertainment side of things. He's a magician, so he does a lot of stuff locally, and he made a connection with a librarian at one of the libraries that he was doing a show at, and she was kind enough to, she had told my husband, she's like, oh, I've got a couple of Nancy Drew books. I'll set those aside for your wife. And I was thinking maybe one or two, and a whole box full of older Nancy Drew books, some that I had never seen before. And she just gave those to me. And she said, I know that your husband said you do the podcast. If you want to keep some or make sure these find their way to your some of your followers, then just do whatever you want with them, because I want people to read these books and spread that love and joy of these stories. So that was really, really cool. And I wasn't expecting that at all. So that was kind of neat.
That is really cool. Yeah. Does he ever like mess with you? Like try to hide stuff or do magic stuff or
I feel like I know most of the tricks that he has up his sleeves, to use that pun. But yeah, I mean, most of the card tricks and stuff like that, I've seen it all. But I joke with people too, because I'm like, yeah, the only time it's appropriate for your husband to measure you for a box is if he's a magician or a mortician. There's no other like red flag. So.
Should I be scared or excited? No, not that one.
Wendy, your most unexpected backstory?
Okay, so I will single out one item, but it was definitely more than one item involved in the story. I can't quite reach it, but up on this shelf, there's a black mug. Oh my gosh, I can't even do direction like this, but okay, let's not, camera. Let's not. Avery's husband's not here doing magic. No, we don't need any magic tricks. No, okay.
If you
Wendy
click on
Wicks.
your little arrow right next to your video thing, it should say auto frame my video. If you take the check mark off,
there's nothing there. I'm telling you, while we've been
Casper
sitting
done
here,
visited, or Avery's husband's there doing some magician work, something happening.
For the next call, I will not check that random box that pops up that I thought would do something completely different than what it's doing. Okay, there's a little black coffee mug up there. It has a fun Scooby scene on it, and it's one of those mugs that you get at like Canada's Wonderland. I literally can't think of any other amusement parks right now because my mind has gone blank, but you can get it with your name on it, basically, is what it is. That one says Joe. So this is a joint story that involves Nikki as well. So Nikki this was already the year before last, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So this was 2 years ago. And just randomly one day, I got a really, 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 really polite, friendly, nice, just wonderful message from a guy named Joe on Facebook. And he was just like, hey, like, I know you don't know me, but like, I've seen your collection and like, I've seen some of what you do online. And I like, paraphrase, he's like, I think that you're a really, really nice person. And I have this Scooby collection and I would like you to have it. And I'm just like, what? This person that I don't know wants to like gift me his entire Scooby collection. Like what level of the Twilight Zone did I just fall into? And so he was like a retired teacher, and it was such a sweet letter. And he's like, I don't want any money for it. If you will just pay the shipping for it, then he's like, I would like it to go to a good home. And I'm thinking, oh boy, shipping from the States into Canada is like, I mean, I don't want to be rude. And, like someone just offered me a really nice gift. I don't want to have to say no, but also I have to be realistic about it too. So we had a very honest conversation, and I was like, thank you so much for all of these nice things that you said about me. Thank you for wanting to do this. That's amazing. I would love to accept this, but I said, I don't know that I can afford the shipping for that. We're going to have to look into this. So we both independently were like trying to figure out, is there a way to ship that much stuff? Because I think he said it would be like, what, Nikki, like around like 15 boxes or so of Scooby stuff. And I'm thinking like, this is going to be like close to $1,000. And that I can't do.
I'm over here like road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert, just maybe not how you're thinking. So anyway, he did like look into it, and I mean, it was going to be like between like $600 and $800. And I was like, God bless you for wanting to do this. That was another thing. He's like, I also love Jesus. And like my username online is Wendy Loves Jesus. I don't make a, it's right there. And he's like, I just want you to have this. And I said, I'm really sorry, but that I can't do that much. But I said, like I know other people who would also give a really good home to your collection. I'm like, I appreciate that you want it to go to me, but like, it doesn't have to go to me. I can find somebody that you would also be very pleased with, they will take care of it and cherish it. And then I can't remember exactly how it got to this point where I realized that he was in the same state as Nikki. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I just threw out the name of where Nikki is. And he's like, it was like 90 minutes away from Nikki. And I was like, oh my gosh. So me and Nikki start talking. And Nikki had been planning to come and visit me for the first time in person. So basically, Nikki was like, well, I want to come visit you. You know, I will bring, you tell him, I will go get it, and I will bring all of it up to you. And I was like, okay, but also like, we're going to share it then, because you are not just going to like be my courier. Like, there's no way. So I explained to him, I'm like, I have this very good friend, Nikki. She lives this close to you. We do this podcast together. We've been friends for years. And I said, she would also be a really good home for your Scooby stuff. She's planning to come see me. Would you be okay if we were to split the collection? And then she'll bring my pieces up to me. And this resulted in not only me getting to meet Nikki in person, but we also had this really great shared experience. Nikki met up with him and got all of the Scooby stuff. And then we had a Zoom call with him where we went through all the boxes and stuff and decided like who was going to keep what and what don't you have and what do you have, you know, and just like split it up and everything. And then to have Nikki come here was amazing. And then all this new Scooby stuff. And I'm still very good friends with Joe. We message all the time. And it's like, hopefully a lifelong friendship that also came from, you know, this shared love of Scooby. And I don't know, it was just so special to like also then make this like part of like mine and Nikki's story too.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was just something about that was like even more special to like share it with somebody, you know, and like share the story and we can talk about it and we can tell it. And like, I don't know, to me, that makes it like very, very special. And so yeah, that little mug was the one item when we were going through stuff that I said to Nikki, I was like, please, I was like, that is the one item that I would like to have. Because to me, that like perfectly represented Joe and like his wonderful gift. And I don't know, to have like two really great friends and to have that fun story behind it. I don't know. That's what collecting should be about. I think it's the memory. It's the memory behind the item. It's not the item itself. It's the memory behind it and like how that made you feel. And I don't know. I think that's pretty special.
Collecting brings people together.
Yes.
I love it.
I actually had that written down as mine. So
Did you?
can tell my murder garage story again. People are gonna get sick of hearing that one, but the thing that's behind me, I drove to Vermont to pick it up, and the people made us back into their garage. But not only did we back into their garage, they shut the door and they locked us in their garage. And it was really kind of freaky because I'm just like, okay, like we're locked in this person's garage. We're sort of in the middle of nowhere. Like there were other houses around, but it was a very wooded area. So we get out of the car and the first thing that I said was, we're meeting a friend in a half an hour, which we were. I have a friend in Massachusetts who actually met us to have lunch. And I was like looking around, just trying to see if there's anything that I could use as a weapon if they tried to do something. Like we're locked in their garage and I'm just so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They said that they didn't want the heat to get out of their garage. And I'm just like, well, it would take like 2 minutes to carry the Scooby thing out of the garage and just put it in my car. Like this was unnecessary. But I'm like totally like on guard, very uncomfortable. We put it in the car. They're talking for a little bit and I'm like, oh, we gotta go. Like we gotta meet somebody. And so we get in the car and they're just kind of standing there and I'm like, I will ram my car through your garage door if you do not open this door. Like just open the door, please. And they did and we left. But yeah.
You're like, y'all better not be collecting people because we're not.
Yeah, it was not cool. Not cool. So never get locked in someone's garage. It's not a fun experience. At least
No.
we got out. So yeah.
That just makes me think about what people tell me all the time, that I have Devin Sawa and Christina Ricci tied up in my basement. And I'm all like, you know what? In Texas, we don't have basements. So your thing is invalid. So yeah, no, I don't collect the cast members of the movie, just their autographs and the photos. But if I sure could have Devin Sawa right here with me, that's a whole other story. He did tell me a few times, "Can I keep you?" And boy, did I melt right there in front of him.
Oh, cute.
Funny.
He follows me back on Instagram, and I'm all like, "Oh, thanks for following me back." He's like, "Of course, you're the boss." And I'm like, "Oh, well, you should come see the collection. I'll be part of it. Can I keep you?" Ooh. That's a whole other turn. Sorry.
What's the most unusual place you've found a collectible? Andrew?
The most unusual place. I guess that would be my most recent collection, that item I got thanks to Vanessa. Only because you wouldn't put two to two together, and then when you learn more, it brings an aha moment. But so in Japan, Selena actually had albums released there. And so like her Dreaming of You album was released there, with the little thing on the side, in Japanese, the movie's there, which I need to get. But I want to say that that would probably be the most unusual place you wouldn't think of is Japan. My boss was there not too long ago, and he was sending me pictures of like Selena t-shirts, and I was like, oh, I have that one. I have that one. But it was cool though. I would have never thought that Selena would be, on shelves, even released in Japan, and then come to find out that Japan actually is very and Vanessa, of course, correct me, but they're big into the Hispanic culture. Like they love the big dresses. They have Day of the Dead there as well. Like, they're actually into a lot of the Hispanic culture and everything. And another fun fact is my husband, who's Filipino, Selena's music is big there in the Philippines as well. So, learning about all these things about Selena and how she is truly worldwide is incredible. But for me, at least my collection, that would be the most unusual place was from Japan, at least for now.
Vanessa, what is the most unusual place you've found a collectible?
Gosh, I can't really follow up with Andrew about the Japan thing because I go every year. My husband's from there. So whenever I come back from Japan, I come back with like up to 100 Casper items because they have a lot of vintage stores there that sell vintage Americana cartoon memorabilia. And that's why a lot of stores there, they all follow my socials, they all know me. Before I got my world record, they knew why I wanted all the Casper stuff, and now after getting the world record, now it's like and they post me every time I go. They're all excited and stuff. So I find a lot of stuff in Japan. Let's see, odd place. This is like so hard because I'm always like keeping an eye out in antique stores, thrift shops, and stuff like that. Just any random place, but like I don't know, maybe a one weird one would not so much be a place. It'll be like somebody messaging me about them selling their Casper things that they got from a friend. It was a box full of Casper how can I call it, like food wrappers from in the 90s whenever they made like candies, chocolate bars, that is a candy, the yogurts, the big chocolate eggs, and I'm trying to look at all my other stuff here. The biscuits, they're cookies, but they call them biscuits in the UK. and
Yeah.
the strawberry milk and stuff like that. Just like a lot of that stuff. He had a big box of it, and he wanted it for like a $500, and I'm like, no, that's not happening. And then I told him like, good luck, but I hope to one day find these, which it's hard because this is all stuff in the UK and it's all wrappings. And there was even a bag of chicken nuggets shaped like Casper and the trio. So I was like, dang, all of this is gonna be. I felt bad saying no, but I was like, I'm not giving you $500. Then he messaged me within a day, and he's like, you know what? I want you to have all this, and we agreed to the price of $100.
Wow.
So I got a full box of casings, wrappings, containers, of foods that they did of Casper in the UK.
Wow.
So, and he was generous enough to send me the original foods that were in them. And the chocolates were crumbled everywhere. The box was disgusting. It took me 2 hours to clean everything. But it was worth it because all of the stuff is unique and awesome. Some things were still sealed. So I still have a chocolate bar of Casper that's still sealed. I still have a bag of gummies of Casper and the trio in there, still sealed, and it's all one big thing now because they melted together. And I have the bag of biscuits, but that one was open on the side, so I was able to like do a video of me pulling one out and just like looking at it, and they all had the characters on them. And I'm like, man, if I had 1 million followers, I could eat one of these things for you guys. But I'm like, oh, too bad. I only got like 2,000 of you. So I can't do that. And so yeah, that was really cool, odd, weird, but epic experience that worked out for me that I'm really glad of, because how else do you ever come across like a box of UK food wrappings from like yogurts, little strawberry milk cartons, chocolates, biscuits, and everything. And I even have some of the food still in there. I have them in a plastic case. So, roaches. Roaches is a thing here in Texas. They are as big as the mosquitoes. So I was like, hell no. But yeah, it's pretty cool that I have those.
It's cool.
Avery,
Maybe I'll open one and lick it. Y'all come back when I have like millions of followers. Do that challenge.
Avery, what's the most unusual place that you found a collectible?
So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, and Wendy, you may not have since you're up in Canada, but there is this thing called the world's largest yard sale.
Oh.
It goes up and down like 127, that whole route. So it starts like in Michigan and goes all the way down to like Alabama.
Wow.
It's really,
Road trip,
really cool.
Andrew.
Yes, because you can find some amazing deals. So I've been going to that, I guess, for the last 4 or 5 years now, and I'll go with my husband and my parents, and we've started like down in Alabama, and I think next year we want to go up north and come down. But I found some Nancy Drew books along the way at really good, reasonable prices, and it's just fun because you can find all kinds of neat stuff. So I would think that you guys could find things from each of your respective collections too. So it's worth a trip. Yeah,
Keep a lookout. Keep a lookout. Oh
yeah,
let us know.
Yes. And as far as the time of year, it's always like that first weekend in August, but they start like actually like midweek, like Tuesday or Wednesday. And the real like insiders, they're like, yeah, you come a little bit earlier when they're first setting up, and you'll see all kinds of stuff. So
Oh, so down. So down.
Wendy, what's the most unusual place that you have found a collectible?
So when I was a little kid, I feel like I'm not going to swear to this, but this is just my recollection of it. I feel like the Michael's craft stores were still relatively new at the time. I'm pretty sure. unless they've been around a lot longer than I'm aware of. Maybe it might be like they were new to Canada. Whatever. My recollection is that they were still reasonably new. And every summer we would take my grandma and we would go and spend like a week with my uncle, my mom's brother. They lived like 6 hours south of us, big city. And we would just go like on vacation every summer. And that was where the flea market was, where I got my big Scooby. And so this one year we went into the Michael's craft store. And again, super rare at the time to find anything Scooby anywhere. Really, I mean, even going to that flea market every year, like maybe I would find 1 or 2 items, maybe if I was lucky. Still really, really difficult to find Scooby then. And just randomly at this Michael's craft store, they had the 2 most incredible, like I'm talking like peak 90s coloring book covers, lime green, hot magenta pink, 1 of each, Scooby coloring books. And I was like, what? Of all the places to find something Scooby, how did I just find these here? And I may be biased by this, but I've seen a lot of Scooby comic books in my years. I still think that they are like 2 of the nicest comics that I've ever seen. And inside of them, they had these, like, do you remember when sometimes coloring books would have like, oh, learn to draw your favorite character, and they would put like the grid on the picture. They would do like a little one with the actual person, and then you like follow along on like the bigger grid. And they had in one of them, like it was shaped like Scooby's dog tag collar, like the triangle, and it had the grid, and it was all the different members of the Scooby gang that you could learn to draw. I can't tell you how many of those my dad photocopied at work for me so that I could learn how to draw the gang and stuff. I mean, it served me well because I draw lots of Scooby stuff now. But yeah, I have not seen any coloring books at a Michael's since, at least at the Michael's that I have been to. So to me, that was a very unusual place to find something, and like that early on as well. It was, and I just remember like that feeling. I feel like if we could bottle that feeling of when you see something or you get something that just like makes you so happy that you are like over the moon. If we could bottle that feeling and sell it, my goodness, we could buy whatever collectibles we ever wanted. We could start the world's biggest museum of everything if we could bottle that and sell it, because that is such a special, just that feeling. I can still feel it when I look at those coloring books. But yeah, that was a very unusual place buying them.
Understand.
I found an armless Fred figure under a swing in the park that was across from my old house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nikki wins this story.
That was the strangest place that I've ever found.
You have Sid living next to you or something?
Dissecting toys. And
Yes. Play nice.
I just want to do a time check before we continue, because I do still have a few questions left, and we've been doing this for 2.5 hours, and I just want to make sure that everyone is good. Wendy and I are used to this.
We're used to
our
it, yeah.
longest panel was 5 hours, so we are used to long episodes.
I'm okay. I just I'm assuming my husband's getting my son to bed, so I am a mom. I gotta figure that out.
Okay. All right. What is one piece you regret not buying when you had the chance? Andrew?
I guess for me, that would have to be, 'cause I'm still working on them, is the bomber jackets for Selena. There's several different ones throughout her career when she was alive, but there was one in particular, because you already know my $200 budget, and they wanted $500 for it. And I remembered another fun fact for me as well, though, is the family has watched me grow up since I was 5 years old. Selena's family has. And so I remember when I was there, I was like, hey, what are your thoughts? And they were just like, oh, that's a little pricey. And I was like, yeah, okay. I was thinking the same thing. But what was so hard about it was never seen it before on eBay. haven't seen it again on eBay. And it's part of my bomber jacket collection that I would love to complete. But kind of like, when you talked about, where you accept it, that it's not gonna happen. And I've accepted it painfully though. But yeah, I would say it'd be some of the bomber jackets that I have seen that I passed on. One of them, it would have been from someone, when she was alive, when they made this particular one, but that one was going for like 20 grand. And I was like, no, that's okay. That's no, but yeah, that it would have to be that. The bomber jackets are the ones that I regret letting pass by, but who knows? Maybe they'll find their way back into my collection some way, somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could be incognito for a little bit. Sorry, I am a ghost.
What is one piece that you regret not buying?
My biggest regret, and I got to see it, what happened to it afterwards. Thankfully it's in good hands too, but still it'd be better in my hands. So they were selling this I don't know if it was a canvas bag, but it was like a big bag, again, something that they gave to the cast and crew of the Casper movie and stuff like that. And it said Casper on it. It was a big black bag. It was $150. And I was like, I had it in my cart for a while and stuff like that. And I was really thinking about it. And by the time I was like, screw it. And then, well, I had also asked my husband too. I was like, okay, I'm going to buy it. It's cast and crew, stuff like that. I went to my cart and it was gone. It was it was sold. And then this was like a couple of months before I went on TikTok and saw my friend post on her video things that her boyfriend got her for her birthday, and one of them was the Casper bag that I had in my cart. Sorry, I was that I had in my cart, and then I was like, oh, I'm so happy for you. I was dying inside. I was like, that was almost mine. That should have been mine, could have been mine. I know it's a good hand. She likes Casper too. She's not a big collector like me, but she'll get every, she'll get a little thing and stuff like that. She knows who I am and stuff. She's a big influencer. She gets, a lot of stuff. But like that hurt my heart that I didn't buy it, and I still regret it to this day. A little part of me is glad that it's with her, knowing where it's at, what happened to it ultimately. It's in good hands, but also maybe if she doesn't want it anymore in the future, she'll hopefully reach out to me, because I will want it. I still want it, and it haunts me. It haunts me worse than all the ghosts in my life. But that's my ultimate regret, and I never will let that happen again.
Avery, what's one piece that you regret not buying?
So I became aware of an eBay auction listing it was the first edition of that book, Secret of the Old Clock, that I was like, ooh, it'd be good to have that. It wasn't signed, but I was still like, it's first edition. Those are kind of hard to come by. And it looked like it was in pretty good shape. But I just watched it, and it just kept climbing higher and higher and higher. And so I think the end bid on it was like $5,000. And I was like, whew, it was not meant to be. But I just kept watching it, and I was like, like maybe one day. But that was not in the cards for me.
Oh dear.
Wendy, what's one piece you regret not buying?
Okay, can I take a little extra one that Avery will appreciate here?
Okay.
Because I also have a small Nancy Drew book collection, and I have been wanting a first edition Ghost of Blackwood Hall since I was a kid, when my mom's friend found one at a yard sale for 50 cents. And I came to her house one day, and she's like, you're not going to believe what I got you. And my mom had just bought me from like a regular bookstore, like a brand new copy of Ghost of Blackwood Hall. I was just getting started, so like the glossy cover. And I was like, oh, she brought it out, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, Mom just bought me this new copy, and she's like, oh, you already have one? She's like, okay, well, never mind then. And she put it back in her bookcase.
No!
And I never got it. And I was just like, oh, what just happened here? What just happened? I saw one on eBay a few years ago. It was $40 and I didn't buy it. And I'm just like, what was wrong with you? What was wrong with you? $40 inclusive with the shipping. First edition. Why was that even a thought in your mind not to do that?
You don't even question.
No. So I regret that in my non-Scooby collecting world. In the Scooby world, they made Barbie dolls of all of the Scooby gang, like in their traditional outfits. They're beautiful, beautiful in the box, out of the box, beautiful set. Never saw them in stores, but I did see them pop up a set. They were pretty much mint condition, all 4 of them, on Facebook Marketplace. Now, where I live is a very small town. Typically, I don't look at Marketplace because there's nothing of the stuff I'm interested in this area. And it's extremely frustrating when, even though you have it set to your area, it's showing you things that are like hours and hours away from you, and you get excited for a moment and then you realize like, this isn't another province. This is in like another state for you guys. Like, this is not in my backyard. Don't even show it to me, because now I feel bad that I'm not going to get it. It popped up though in a place called Thunder Bay, where at the time my best friend lived. And they wanted $100 for all 4 dolls. Which, I mean, typically, I don't know that I've ever seen one less than $50 a piece online. And you can see them like out of the box and they want $50 for it. They're very expensive now. And even though my best friend, she goes out of her way to get things for me, to find things for me, there's no question in my mind, if I had called her and been like, I don't know how close this is to you, but could we check? And would you go and grab them for me? There is not a doubt in my mind that she would have said yes. But because I know she would have said yes, I was like, I don't want to ask her to do that, because if it is further away than what I think it is, she'll still want to go and do it. And I'm like, I just felt like I would be taking advantage of her if I were to do that. So I just never said anything. Fast forward to last year, and we're talking, and I was like, I'm going to tell you this story. And I told her about this, and she like hit the roof. She's like, why didn't you call me and ask me to go and get them? Why didn't you call me? She's like, I would have gone. I'm like, I know you would have gone. That's why I didn't call you. She's like, don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again. If you see something that you want and it's anywhere near me, even if it's not near me, she's like, you tell me, okay? And I mean, I have always regretted not getting those dolls, because I don't think I'm ever going to see them for that price, like, ever again. And it was all 4 of them at one time. Oh, yeah, I regret that.
So I had to know what the dolls look like. Girly on eBay right now for $180, all 4 of them in a set.
Oh, well, okay, that's probably American though, which is like,
the conversion.
Oh my, like,
oh my God, your friend was like, Wendy, make it make sense. You call me. Oh my God. I mean, I get you on not wanting to like take advantage or bother friends, but if there's something near Andrew, I don't care. I'm gonna be calling Andrew and be like, I don't know what you're doing, but I need you to go and get this for me. I love you. Please go get this for me, because he understands me as a collector. So like he asked me to get him something from Japan. I sure did deliver. No worries there. So we help each other out and stuff like that. That's what friends do. That's what friends are for. You're not taking advantage. They know your passion. They know what you love and stuff like that. They'll be more than happy to do it. And I know that's why you didn't ask her. I get it. But girl, Wendy, make it make sense. My God.
I know.
See, it's funny because like some of our friends are the best at like helping us find things for our collections. My parents are in on it now. Like they travel for work sometimes, and my mom will literally like FaceTime me from a flea market stall, and she'll be like, "Do you have this one? Do you have this one?" And it's like it's the best thing. I love those calls.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Oh,
great.
those are so fun. I love it.
So for me, like my biggest regret is still not buying those pop figures when they were $25 each. Even though I have them now, I spent way too much money on them. That will always be my biggest regret. Always.
Yeah.
I hear
Yeah.
that. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're hearing the violin for all of us because man, we're all feeling the pain right now. What if? What if? Why do we do this?
That's right. So
We
do
all
you
died
buy
a bit.
do you
Yes.
buy everything you see, or do you limit what you get? Like if you there are collectors that no matter what it is, they're gonna buy it. And then there are some that they just want specific things. Wendy, we'll start with you on this one.
Yeah. Definitely do not buy everything that I see. I'll be perfectly honest, until 2018, I did not consider myself a collector. I loved Scooby. Scooby was something that people knew I enjoyed. So for like birthdays and Christmas, it was not unusual to get something Scooby related. It's so rare that if I see it here and I liked it, I would get it. But I didn't really look at my collection as a collection and me as a collector until I can't remember which came first. If Nikki asked me if I wanted to be the collector spotlight on her blog, or if I saw Sci-Fi Wire, like Sci-Fi the channel, they had a web page called Wire for a while, and they put out like a call, like a casting call, where they were like, "Hey, do you collect something? We're going to be starting this like blog web series thing, and we're looking for people that collect things." And it was just the first time where I was like, well, I have like my little closet here, my little corner. I mean, obviously I didn't have quite this much stuff. I've gotten a lot of it since then. But I was like, I wonder if I would like qualify for that, you know? And so I sent them my thing and they were like, yeah, let's do it. And I was the second person to do it. And then they never did it again. I don't know why, because I thought it was really cool. And the guy that went first, he had an awesome collection of stuff. And it was only after that that I was like, okay, well, this is a collection and I guess I am a collector. And then I got to know Nikki more, and then I met other people who also collect Scooby, and it just sort of evolved into something more than what I was considering it to be in the first place. However, I've always been, because I am such a visual person, and if it doesn't look nice, I don't want it. It really is that simple. If it doesn't look nice, I don't want it. You could show me the most expensive Scooby in the world and be like, here, you can have it. If I think it's ugly, like it's off model, and I don't think it's like even cute, because like I will admit, I do like bootleg items, especially foreign ones, you know, Spain, Argentina, all these different places. Sometimes you can find these very unusual looking Scoobies and they're not licensed. There's no way that they're licensed, but they are obviously Scooby. I love them. But if it doesn't look good, I don't want it in my collection. So I very much consider my collection to be a curated collection. Also because I'm primarily collecting memories, nostalgia, and feelings as opposed to things. So for me to just buy things that I have no like emotional attachment to, I'm like, why do I need it though? It's taking up room that I have limited space for. And it's kind of just like diluting my collection in a way, is kind of like what it feels like to me. And also based on like a lot of what was said earlier in our podcast tonight, by doing it the way that I do it, where if I don't like it, I'm not going to buy it. And if it's not within my budget, I'm not going to buy it either. Having a collection curated like that also means that when you do come across an item that you are like, I really, really would like to have that, and it is a little bit higher in the price bracket, I can justify, well, I didn't buy the 17 pairs of socks, boxers, pajama pants, and ugly greeter at Walmart last month. I didn't buy any of those things. I have that much more money to put towards the items that I actually really would like. Because I have to say, I mean, definitely I go looking for things sometimes, but the nicest pieces that I have, the most unusual and rare pieces I have like stumbled upon them while I've been looking for something else. And I was like, I didn't even know that existed. My first buy on Poshmark, I didn't even know what that was. And I don't even know what I was searching for online. And all of a sudden, here's this amazing little rubber soap dish from the 70s of Scooby. And it was so nice. And like, I got it for like $15. I wasn't looking for that. But it's those moments where it's like, okay, I have a little bit of extra money because I didn't buy a bunch of other things that I didn't really want. And I feel like I can then justify spending a little bit more money on this stuff that is like, no, I would like that in my collection. I don't know if you can tell, but there's like a little vintage belt buckle there. It's probably about $40. That's a lot for a belt buckle. The only reason that I justified that was because of its rarity, how much I liked it, and the fact that I could rhyme off like 10 other Scooby things that I had seen that was like, okay, well, yes, it's Scooby. And I mean, I don't know, I would love to know if the rest of you feel this way about your collectible of choice. I see that picture of Scooby on the shelf and like, yes, the instinct is I want it. Before I even know what it is, I see that little brown dog with his big black nose and like immediately I am drawn to it. And you get that like rush of like, oh my God, it's Scooby. I have had to learn to like tamp that down, tamp it right down and be like, okay, yes, it's Scooby. We heard you a mile away. We heard you. You got excited. We heard you. It's fine. Calm down. What is it? How much is it? Because these days, the newer things that they're putting out, they pale in comparison as far as like creativity. They're so boring. And it's like the same thing over and over again. They want the same price for the brand new stuff as what I can find vintage online now. And that's crazy. That's ridiculous. Those greeters are like almost $50 in Canada. I mean, no, like $20 maybe, but I can get a vintage Scooby for $50. Why would I buy a brand new one that doesn't even really look like him for that much money? So yeah, definitely no. I still get that rush when I see Scooby. Absolutely. 100% of the time. I never don't feel it, but I tamp it down and then I'm like, okay, do I like this item? How badly do I actually want to see it every single day in my collection? Is it worth the space and the money? Or would I rather put it towards something that I may see in the near future that I would really like, would just love to have it?
Those graders, they're getting more expensive and they're getting shorter.
Yeah, they're small now. It's weird. It's not, no.
Yeah. Avery, do you buy everything you see or do you limit what you get?
So I could relate to what Wendy said as far as like you get excited when you see it no matter what, because it's like finding, I explained it to someone else the other day. I was like, it's like seeing a friend or something, like when you're just at the thrift store and I see those yellow spines of those books and they're just like, they're so iconic and you can spot them from a mile away. So I always get excited when I first see them, but then realistically, I give myself a reality check and I look at them and I'm like, what's the condition? Do I have this already? Is there someone else that I know that is missing this title? So I kind of tamper that a little bit. And then too, like I said earlier, there's some of the books that are just like the tweeds that I'm not as interested in. So I'm definitely not like, I don't have to have it. My mom, actually, it's funny because I said she gets in on it and helps me find stuff. She's always like, but it's $1 or it's this, or and sometimes like she will influence me a little bit and I'm like, well, okay, but a lot of times I'm just like, I just I've never had too much of a problem with that, with putting something back if I'm just like, it's not for me this time. So
yeah. Vanessa, do you buy everything or do you limit what you buy?
Well, if you ask my husband, he'll say I buy everything, but he don't know that I put stuff back. I could be good. I do get the rush, but the thing is, you could tell what's Scooby easily, but as far as Casper, he could be mistaken as a snowman or the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. There's a lot of things where people are like, it's Casper. I'm like, no, that's Mr. Stay Puft. There's a difference. They're both ghosts, but one of them's friendly and with a tail and not a sailor. But for instance, I don't like leaving, even though I have like a ton of the Casper VHS movie tape. I call them my rescues. I don't like leaving them behind because I feel like that's my heart right there. That's Casper. Plus, I use them as risers. And if I ever find like an arts and craft to do with a VHS tape, I have a lot extra. I do put them back if people think they be getting money from a VHS tape, because some people do like to price them at $15 to $20 or $25. VHS, a Casper VHS. I'm like, okay, I know this movie is one of the best ever made, but that's a lot of money for the VHS. I will not pay it, not even me. So it hurts me to have to put that VHS back, because I will only pay $5 or less for the VHS. And like a lot of people have reached out to me saying, oh, I have some Casper tapes here. I'll let you have it for this much. And I'm like, no, dude. VHS tapes, dime a dozen. I don't need to buy everything. Same with, as you had said, like, what you said, like jogger suits or something like that of Scooby. So like there's a lot of t-shirts out there or lots of other random stuff of Casper. And man, companies these days, they like, and I'm not talking about Five Below. Five Below with the Casper shirt, I could deal with that. But like a lot of companies, they want like $35 for a dang t-shirt. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not about that. I even a t-shirt that I wear, I'm not going to spend more than $20 on it. And to me, that's like, it is what it is. But like $35 for a t-shirt. And so those are the ones where I kind of like, I don't need, because I do have a big stack of t-shirts of Casper piled up in that closet. Nothing you could see visually here, something like that. Not a toy. I'd rather spend that $35 on a set of Pogs that I don't have, set of Casper marbles, a vintage toy I don't have. I'd rather spend it on that. Because a lot of people send me new listings of Casper as far as like small companies, not super small, but like companies that have Casper t-shirts or merchandise for the anniversary of Casper and all this other stuff. And the stuff is really dang expensive. There's this one company, they know who I am. They send me their listings with no coupon code, no PR box, nothing like that, just like here. Thinking like, yeah, the Casper girl's going to spend $35 on all of your t-shirts you have there. Yeah. No. And I'm not like, that's not how it works. Why are you sending me this link without like, hey, here's a coupon code? Because, for your old record collection, we would love for you to, buy these and stuff like that. Or have these. If I had millions of followers, I'm sure they would send me a free PR package and I get to show it and stuff like that. But like, if the follower count it overlaps a Guinness World Record. And it should be the other way around, logically, I would think, but it is what it is. But yeah, to answer the question, I don't buy everything. So, because it's just, I know when things are overpriced. Yeah. And it's like, I'm not, no, keep your VHS. You want it that bad for $25, $20, keep it. I got 50 more at home. I could find it cheaper elsewhere. Same with the t-shirts. There was this other company that was selling a Casper sweatshirt for $90. I found it on Mercari for $30, like randomly. And then I even had a coupon for that. And I was like, well, there's that. So yeah, no, as much as it hurts, I can't get everything, but I try to.
Andrew, do you buy everything you see or do you limit what you get?
So before the Guinness World Record, bought everything because I had to meet their minimum qualification. Yes. But I will say that it was hard. You know, Selena was only alive for 23 years, so you know, and she wasn't singing all that time. So you know, when you think about merchandise wise, there wasn't a lot. I mean, there is quite a bit. You know, if I would have been alive, you know, maybe in my teens, you know, whenever it was back in the 90s, maybe I would have had, you know, quite a stuff by then, but it just wasn't in the cards. And so when I realized how much I had to have, I was like, okay, all right. And then, you know, you start taking things out that Guinness doesn't consider, like newspapers, at least for me, that, you know, didn't matter. And so, you know, learning all this stuff about it. And then they started pumping out this merchandise for Selena called official Selena merchandise. So it was like the new shirts you can buy at Hot Topic, Spencer's, Walmart, Torrid. I can name probably all the shops you can go to. And so, yeah, every little thing. I kid you not, I had the same design, four different colors of a t-shirt because every one of them counted. Now,
Mm.
not so much. There's these new tumblers they just came out with, and oh, God, I love them. I have four of them already. I don't, and they're rhinestones, so am I going to use them? No. But it's like gold, white, black, silver. Now they have lime green, hot pink. Yeah, so there's more colors. $40 a tumbler. So they're up there. There's nine of them now, and I have four, and I'm just like, for eight for $40 I was like, that two of those you're already looking at Korean barbecue now. So I'm like, that's a little tough. So I would
Yeah.
say before, yeah, absolutely. Before the record, bought every little thing that was official that counted. Now, after the record, I'm mostly towards the vintage items that I don't have, which is very difficult now to come across. And if it's any new items, I really have to like it. Like, am I gonna wear it, sport it? Is it just gonna
Mhm.
get put, you know, into the storage unit, and is it just gonna hide away from public eye? You know, I really have to. But of course, as y'all can tell, the one item I will continue to buy are the vinyl records. Every single one they produce, gonna buy it. But yeah, so I would say it's a mixture of both before and after.
Yeah. I used to buy everything I saw, and then in doing the panels and talking to other collectors, and then starting ScoobyMuseum.com and realizing that there is so much Scooby stuff out there that I had no idea even existed. And there's no way that I will ever get every Scooby thing that has ever been created. So it does make it a lot easier to say no when it's not really something that I care so much about.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
If you
I
could
hear that.
create the perfect item for your collection, what would it be? Wendy?
Definitely would have to be a full set of every Scooby villain from all of the classic series,
Ooh.
done in a completely screen accurate, like statue style. So, like, action figures are nice, but I personally, I don't like articulation in figures. I didn't when I was little and I was playing with dolls either, because to me, that like joint visually messes up the look of the figure for me. So I would rather a figure that doesn't move. I can play with, like, when I was a kid, I could play with that exactly the same. Like, I don't need Barbie's arms to be able to, like, you know what I mean, do all of that. It's fine. I can imagine it. I don't actually need her to be able to do that. So they do make some pretty nice villain, just like action figure type stuff. And a lot of them they're actually quite good. But ideally, I would love to see every villain with just like maybe a nice, like 6 or 7 inch figure sculpted completely cartoon accurate, not like somebody's interpretation of it, but cartoon accurate, just a full set of those, and like all of the characters done like that, including like Scooby Dum and Scooby D, like the incidental characters that came into that. Just like a full, just nice set of figures. I think that would be for me like the ultimate collectible. Yeah.
Mm.
Avery, how about you?
So mine is not so much a collectible, but I think myself and probably a lot of people in the Nancy Drew community would agree. It would be really, really cool if we could get a period accurate movie with Nancy Drew, because there's been different imaginings over the years. There was the 2007 movie with Emma Roberts. There was the latest CW show back in like 2019, I believe. But it would be really cool to get that and maybe have Nancy set anywhere from 1930 to 1980. Like, I'm not really even specific because, like, when I grew up with her, I had books that my mom would have had that were like showed her in like 70s clothing. So I'm like, I can get with that. But I think that that would be really cool. And I know like Hollywood likes to put their spin on things. So, but if we could get it like real close to one of the plots of the original books, that would be really, really cool.
Love that.
How about you? What would you create as your perfect collectible?
So many things come to mind. For one, I mean, Lego comes out with a lot of different sets, right? They come out and everyone got all excited when Lego came out with the Hocus Pocus house. Whatever. It is bleh. I'm like over that. Lego needs to come out with whip staff. Casper's house with all of the Casper figures, so like that. I got the Casper figures custom made and the Legos, stuff like that, and I made some myself. So the Lego people need to come out with a whip staff Lego set because I would love that. Also, there's not enough love. Speaking of villains, Wendy, Kerrigan. There's not enough love for Kerrigan. My girl Kathy needed some love. She needs her own doll. She needs her own pop figure. Dibs needs one. Dr. Harvey. Like, those are like characters that are not highlighted in the movie. You got Casper in the trio. You got Kat, and you got Devon Sawa, Casper type thing. But you don't have any love for Dr. Harvey, Kerrigan, or Dibs. We need those kinds of figures. We need those kinds of items made and stuff like that. Me personally, because I've always dreamt of Whipstaff as my dream home, I would love like a rug at least of the swirl floor, because after they used it for Casper, they used it for the Backstreet Boys video. Fun fact. So that's why I'm a Backstreet Girls fan. Backstreet Girls, what did I say? Backstreet Boys. Like you said, it's late. It's 10 o'clock. Backstreet Boys girl. I'm a Backstreet Boys girl, not the NSYNC, because Backstreet Boys, they used the dance floor of Casper. So that was the sweet spot for me. And like a lot of other things that they have in the Casper movie, as far as decor and stuff like that, I want all of those reproduced and stuff. But that's just me because I like Victorian decoration. My house is all Victorian. I normally dress Victorian. So I'm into that. And because in my past life, I was Victorian, and I grew up in the 1900s over there back then. I grew up in the 1900s, 90s. In this life, shameless plug, I explain about my past life and everything in my book that I wrote. So yeah, those kinds of things I would like to see made because, like again, like Hocus Pocus is a nice little 90s movie that people are fans of. Casper is a big thing. It really is. We just celebrated 30 years. I think they should build a Lego thing for it and make more items geared towards the villains of the Casper movie in general, because Casper cartoons, they made stuff of Spooky, not necessarily a villain, but he was just the bad little ghost. He's Casper's cousin. Another character that people don't know about in the 1960s is Harry Scary. Really cool, funny guy. He goes, whoa! He likes to scare people, but in a funny way. He looks like a hairy ghost. That's why he's called Harry Scary. He's got like a big nose, and I think he's voiced by the guy who played the Mad Hatter in the Alice in Wonderland cartoon Disney. So if that puts a visual in your head on how he sounds like. But they didn't make any merch of Harry Scary. I have the cartoons of him. And another fun fact, because there's two Scooby people here, Casper came out in the 1960s Hanna-Barbera cartoons where it's like a mixture of Charlie's Angels and Scooby-Doo. They're up in space with Harry Scary, and it's called Casper and the Angels. They fight crime, or no, they solve mysteries and stuff like that. Casper does it the friendly way, Harry Scary does it the scary ghost way, and then the two angels, they're like the investigators, like the Scooby Gang and stuff. So it's a mixture between both. I think both these Scooby gals will like that. So watch
Yeah,
Casper and the Angels. Y'all will dig it. You'll be able to be like, oh, this is a nice little mini crossover of Scooby-Doo and Casper, but we do need an actual one. So
Yeah.
whoever we have to talk to make that happen would be great.
Yeah, definitely need a crossover.
Yeah.
Andrew, what would be the perfect item that you would create for your collection?
So Vanessa would tell you, I can come up with so many ideas on items to come out with and everything for collectibles with I sent her stuff about Casper and I thought of things with Selena, but I think for me, if I had to really like throw an idea and be like, please make it, would be a time capsule based on Selena's albums. And, so then they would come out with, if you're looking at her very first album with EMI, maybe have it come with a poster of it, use the old designs they did on the t-shirts, bring like the old merch back. Of course, I know how resellers are, so put the current year date on it so that way they don't pass it off as vintage. But I think that'd be so cool, like to have a time capsule, and even maybe just something, from the family, like a letter where they can just type up and enter it, but it talks about where everyone was at that time of the album, what was going on, their favorite song, their least favorite. I think something like that would be really cool. But I don't know. I mean, there's so many Selena albums that she has, even though she was only alive for a short amount of time. I want to say she came out with maybe about 10, 10, 5 with her last label and then 5 before. But I think that would be something that would be really cool. And another idea would be it's something that Lady Gaga did that I have, but it was if you bought the vinyl set where you get to enter your picture into the poster that made up Lady Gaga's image. And so, you have you have your little photo in there with all the other fans that made up like this big old poster. I think something like that would be cool where it brings the fans together, to celebrate something. But yeah, a time capsule, of the albums, I think is something I would love.
I think a time
Oh,
capsule
cool.
would work for like any
Right?
type of collection,
Yeah.
right? Like a
Yeah, that's
Scooby
really
time
cool.
capsule would be cool. Casper, Nancy Drew, like
Yeah.
I think that's a great market for like any type of collection.
And you focus on like time period,
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't just throw everything in there if you start at, at time periods and literally call it, throughout the era.
Mhm.
And a time capsule for particular time periods, I think just Chef Kiss would just do wonders in collector communities.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mhm.
My ultimate item would just be a 20-foot tall weatherproof Scooby. That's all I want. Just one that's like 20 feet tall. I'd even settle for 6 feet, but I really want like the biggest Scooby ever. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I love
That's
it.
all. That's all.
that's all.
That would be rad. They need to. They never even made a Casper blow up for outside. Can you believe that?
Oh, really?
Like,
Oh,
yeah.
that is weird. Yeah.
I think
Time
that'd
for
be
that.
cool for Halloween. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would
definitely.
sell.
They
Yeah.
keep making Scooby ones. I don't know.
Yeah.
They've made
Yeah.
so many different Scooby ones. It's hard to keep
Mhm.
track of them all.
Mhm.
Yeah. What is the best advice that you have received from someone else regarding collecting? And do you have advice for other collectors? Wendy?
I think that it was probably my dad that instilled that idea of, you don't need to buy everything. Just because it has Scooby's face on it doesn't mean that you actually need to own it. And I think that probably came from him. And he's very I mean, he can be very like strict and sort of in your face, but I don't know, like he was very careful, like raising me to where he wanted to, like, sometimes there were definitely times where he wanted to influence how I looked at something or how I thought of it, like to keep me out of trouble or, you know, to teach me like a good lesson. But he always found a way of making it like it was my choice though. So, you know, when I got to be a teenager, like, not that I wanted to go out very often, but like the one party I wanted to go to, you know, it was my choice, whether he really wanted me to or not. Right after high school, one of my friends, she was working like over the holidays at the bar. And she's like, you need to come work at the bar. She's like, 3 days and you will make like $2,000. And I was like, I don't really think I want to work at the bar, but also $2,000. And I told my dad about it. And he was like, well, he's like, I'm not going to tell you that you can't. If that is something that you feel like you want to do, then I will, like, you go ahead. It's your life. But I will just tell you, you know, I don't necessarily think it's a good idea for X, Y, Z, and rhymed off a couple of reasons. But he's like, it's your decision. I didn't end up doing it because it didn't seem like the right fit for me. But he's always very like, he makes it so that even though, yes, his opinion is definitely influencing me, he's like, but it has to be you have to make that choice though. So I feel like he also sort of instilled that when it came to collecting, because obviously if we're in the store together and he's seeing how excited I'm getting, regardless of my age, you know, that was a lesson that I had to learn at some point. And so I think he's the one that I would say taught me that, of like, be selective, be deliberate, and make it something you enjoy. You don't do it for other people. You don't do it to like make money. It's got to be something that like you can sustain it. Like my advice to collectors is like, buy within your means. Buy within your means. That is so important because it is so easy to go beyond that and get caught up in like the excitement of collecting. And like, I mean, I don't know if we've all been there, but you're sitting there with like an eBay auction and you really want the thing and it's going up and up and up. If you don't go into that being like, this is my cap, I am not going over this. And you are just relying on like in the moment, clicking that like bid $2 more button, holy mackerel, can you get into trouble doing that? And I've seen that happen to a lot of people. And it's like, okay, I get it, but like, you're not doing yourself any favors. And I feel like that's the kind of thing that leads to people getting burnt out on their collecting, where they're like, they're still doing it, but if they're not enjoying it anymore. And like, when you stop enjoying it, stop doing it. Even if it's just for like a little while, like take a step back from it. So from my dad, now also from me, curate your collection, make sure it's something that you like. Don't just like do it all willy-nilly. Like, pick the thing that you love, let it bring you joy, but like, don't let it put you in the poorhouse either. And don't let yourself get so burnt out on it that it's not making you happy anymore, because then it's just a waste of time and money and you're stressing yourself for absolutely no reason. Because like, at the end of the day, it's stuff. It's stuff.
Yeah.
You don't need stuff. But the stuff is nice to remind you of like the positive feelings that are attached to the stuff. So let it be about the feelings. The stuff is just extra.
Yeah. Avery,
You're
what
not
is the
stuff,
best
Casper.
advice that you've received, and do you have advice for collectors?
Best advice I've received was from Jennifer Fisher, who's like over this group called Nancy Drew Sleuths, and she does conventions and got to go to one this year. She was saying, you know, because a lot of the collectors in that community are a lot older than even I am, like in their 50s or higher, and she's just started to kind of talk about this a little bit more, but just having a plan for your collection, if that's what you want to do. If you don't, that's fine also. But I know, like in her instance, she donated her whole entire collection to the Toledo, Ohio Public Library. Like, they carved out a special place for all her books, memorabilia, and that's where one of the ghostwriters, Mildred Wirt Benson, she worked at the local newspaper. And so that was kind of the inspiration for the location of the collection. But I thought that was really good advice to kind of think about the future, you know, whether you want to donate your collection or if there's anyone in mind that you know likes the same things as you, maybe you can, you know, do something nice and give them some of those pieces. But as far as like my advice, I think I agree with Wendy, like collect what you like. You know, don't, you know, I say like I am a little bit of a completionist, but sometimes it's like certain things, if you're not drawn to it, don't collect it, and don't get so hung up in collecting in a certain order, because it never happens that way. Like we've said several times on this episode, like you just find things sometimes, and it's just, you know, I know sometimes like I'm preaching to the choir because I'm kind of OCD about reading the books in order, you know, just for continuity's sake. But yeah, sometimes things just come across your path and you just have to make that decision, like, do I want this or do I let this pass? And so that would just be my advice.
Vanessa, what advice have you gotten from someone else, and what advice do you have for collectors?
Oh my gosh, I was thinking so hard. Even when you sent me these questions, I was like, what has anyone told me that was positive? Because a drive for me was about something my mom told me that my aunt had said about me. She talks to stuffed animals, something's wrong with her. She'll never amount to anything. My dad said I wouldn't amount to anything. He called me a baby Huey, which oddly is another Harvey character. So wrong Harvey character. I showed them. My grandpa, I would say the best positive advice would be, and that would be my same one too, was to never give up. I felt neglected as far as like doing what made me happy, being seen, being heard, and stuff like that. And then I spent my life trying to navigate away from all of that and making sure that I am, and I guess noting that I am worth being seen and heard, and I am a valid person and stuff like that, and deserve happiness and stuff. So and my grandparents were my only great supporters. They backed me up with everything. They knew my love for Casper too. They knew why also, because whenever we would all gather together, I would be alone in the other room crying because my family were my first bullies. So, this is going down the rabbit hole. I don't want negativity. I bring positivity with my story, my outcome of my story, and with Casper. My greatest thing that I have lived by was never giving up on what made me happy. Never giving up on, you know, getting my voice heard, getting my story out there, no matter what people may say. You know, I'm worth it and I'm valid. A lot of people are also. Anybody who grew up the way that I did, I want to make sure that they are seen and heard also, and make sure that their voices are validated also. That's what I want to do for other people. I want to be their positive voice because I didn't have one. This one was my my positive voice, my biggest comfort and stuff. So my homage to him is all of this. And you know, I go by what he always goes by as far as loving everybody and accepting people. So I have a ring after my grandpa passed away that said never give up. I have a lot of things that say never give up, because a lot of times you feel that way, and a lot of times I was close to it, but I kept on, and I would always still hear his voice telling me that, and I know he's still with me. And he tells me too in my dreams, don't give up, we're here for you, we're proud of you, and stuff like that. And that's just been my ongoing strength for everything that I've endured, even after their passing and stuff. You know, just keep going and the impossible can happen. Seeing is believing, as the logo of the movie is. So, you know, I'm proof of it. So that's what I think. Hopefully that was good. I didn't mean to go negative, but it's just that my whole life has just been that kind of thing, and I had to turn it around and be like my own success story.
Yeah.
And I hope to help other people be their success story also. So yeah, that's me.
Andrew, what is the best advice that you've received from someone, and what advice do you have for collectors?
Ooh, the best advice would be that I don't need everything. Like we talked about having to complete sets and all that fun jazz. The need to just want to complete something, to see it finished. It's something I had to realize that some things are going to happen and some things are not. So that was something that I had to realize, is that, I'm not going to have it all. But one advice that I would give to a lot of collectors out there, even the ones I've been collecting for years or the ones that are up and coming, is don't lose yourself. I feel that it's so easy to get lost in something, and that's in anything in life, and completely honest, but just not to lose yourself. Um, I have a good friend of mine and who I'm trying to help navigate that, but when you talk to them, it's about their collection, this and that, and it's like, well, how are you doing? How's your family? Don't lose yourself in that, because it's easy to get lost, and for something to be your entire world, though it may be always with you, but just don't lose yourself. And I think for me that's the best advice I can give. I feel, a lot of us are around the same age. So years ago, we didn't have internet. And now, with the internet, I couldn't imagine being a new collector in this day and age with how accessible everything is. I feel that's how you can lose yourself. I mean, I've done it where I get up and it's like right away in the morning, eBay, Macari, pot, like you're looking, and I've had to change my habits. Like I don't need to check. That's hard to say, but I don't need to check eBay, every so often. I guess the other bad thing about me is, I collect many other things outside of Selena. And so one of the things that's a very hard one to stop is Pokemon. I am a collector of the consoles. Anytime a new exclusive console comes out, I need it. So now we're in a home of 4 Switches because they're different. And I'm already over here like the Switch 2, they're gonna come out with the limited edition. And my husband's like, do you need it? And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Gotta
And
catch
it's
them
like,
all.
yeah, it's like, but do you yeah, I do. Yeah, it's that. So don't lose yourself, even though, I didn't learn that with Pokemon. But yeah, don't lose yourself.
I like that. That's good. For advice that I've received is pretty much the same, that, just collect what makes you happy. As far as advice for other people, don't let anyone make you feel bad about your collection, because it's something that makes you feel good, and nobody should be like, oh, Scooby-Doo, that's so for kids. Like, so what? I like it. It makes me happy. That's all that matters. Everybody has their thing. Like some people like to spend money going out to eat or going to wineries. And like, how is that different than me wanting to spend my money on Scooby because that's what I enjoy? So yeah. So
Or
don't,
when they call you obsessed, that is the
yeah.
worst thing. And I'm like, let's look at the definition, because I don't think it says collectors, because there's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't let anyone let make you feel bad. Yeah. Our final question.
We made it.
We passed go. We can collect 200.
So this question came about because we were talking about collecting in another panel, specifically about Scooby. And it just kind of came into my head. Like, one of the questions I had then was, Scooby was originally supposed to be a sheepdog. And could we see ourselves with a room full of sheepdog looking dogs, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't, and Wendy couldn't. You know, Scooby is Scooby. He's a brown Great Dane. But if he was a sheepdog, would we still have loved him this much? So this question came about that if Scooby didn't exist, then what would we collect instead? Wendy, I don't remember what your answer was.
I don't either, but I kind of feel like there wasn't an answer, is what the answer was.
Yeah.
Because I do collect a lot of other things, but I'm going to put collect in quotation marks and go back to prior to 2018 where I didn't consider myself a collector. Because like the whole rest of this closet, I mean, there is a small section of clothing. The rest of it is toys. The majority of these toys are what I had when I was a kid. And it was simply, I know that my parents worked really hard and it was a big deal to like get something nice. And there was no way that I was not going to take care of it and appreciate it and make it last, you know, and let it be something that I could enjoy indefinitely. Not just when I was a kid, but like as I got older as well. I don't play with these toys, but there's something nostalgic about them and it still brings me like positive feelings. And I have the space for it. I'm like, why would I not put it out? It's making me happy. So I wouldn't like any one thing in here. I'm like, could I have like a full on collection like what I do with Scooby? And honestly, the answer is no. I have like a shelf of Batman. I have some My Little Pony. I have Barbies and then all the miscellaneous stuff from my childhood. I love it all, but none of it captures for me what Scooby captures. So I don't think that I would collect anything if I didn't have Scooby. I would just have the things, the random things that I like that I have accumulated. But I don't think that I would consider them a collection or myself a collector of anything other than Scooby.
Avery, if Nancy Drew didn't exist, what would you collect?
You know, I sometimes wonder if I would have gone down a rabbit hole because like there's a few things that I have, but I wouldn't say they're huge collections of, but I was really big into like the American Girl dolls and books. And so I wonder if I could have gone off in that direction or in the last like 10-ish years, I kind of got into collecting vintage clothing. So I wonder sometimes if I didn't have all this passion for Nancy Drew, maybe that would have transferred full into one of these other areas. But yeah, it's hard to picture like Nancy Drew not being some part of my life. So
yeah. Vanessa, if Casper didn't exist, what would you collect?
It would be so hard to live in a world if Casper wasn't real because he saved my life since I was 5. But something else that I did relate to was Rudolph and the Island of Misfit Toys. I felt like a misfit my whole life, of course. So I also collected Rudolph and the Misfit Toys. I have 4 bins full of the collection. I sold some of it on Mercari because they've been in bins for years, and it's not, I mean, I didn't have any space to display it. So I'm slowly letting it go, but it's still near and dear to my heart. The Island of Misfit Toys. If I was still collecting that would make us bankrupt because they still make all that stuff each year and stuff like that. Casper's a rarity and stuff like that. So I tell my husband, be thankful. But also growing up, my other hero was and is Xena Warrior Princess. I have a collection of Xena Warrior Princess down in my craft room. I was able to meet my hero, Lucy Lawless, and it was just wonderful and just life changing. Lucy Lawless, Xena Warrior Princess. Oh my gosh. I've always been a collector my whole life. I have a lot of memorabilia, collectibles, God, there's just so much that I've collected for so many years. But as far as big collection wise, it would be those other two that I've collected, and then Casper, and I'm a crafter, so it's not so much collecting as if people call it hoarding beads and fabrics, because I'm also a seamstress. So, but that's a whole other category as far as being a crafter. So that's different than collecting, because if I was collecting those things, I wouldn't be using them. So I guess I hoarded. But I did downsize a lot, a lot, a lot. But yeah, I think that's all I collect. I do have some spooky dolls that I do collect, like the little bisque ones from Japan. I have some Victorian items because of my Victorian past life, my Victorian self that I have right now, and my house inspired by Whipstaff. Um, so yeah, I think I have a lot of options of other things to collect because I myself have always been a collector, a little gatherer, a chipmunk. I'll always have stuff. I guess it was my way of comforting myself because of the way I grew up. Man, I'm gonna get deep with you guys. I know, I'm sorry I keep getting deep with y'all. That's just my story of my life. That's why I wrote a book about it.
Yeah.
But again, it's just my way of reaching out to people who are just like myself, that they aren't alone. So yeah, I'm here for it.
Andrew, if Selena didn't exist, what else would you collect?
Oh, Pokemon. Easy. Yeah, only because growing up it was Pokemon and Selena. I never lost playing the Pokemon games. Just like I never stopped collecting Selena. I will say though, the Selena collecting took over where Pokemon couldn't be. It was either one or the other, and Selena was the one that it stuck with. But yeah, it definitely would have been Pokemon. I probably would have had all the cards. Oh yeah. And I had several of them when I was younger, but just they were just cards. They weren't anything, we really thought about. Um, but yeah, it definitely would have been Pokemon. You're talking about someone I haven't seen all the shows. That's too much for me. I mean the younger ones, yeah, growing up I went along with it, but after a certain point I was like, oh, okay, you're gonna go on an adventure, you're gonna meet some friends, you're gonna catch some Pokemon, you're gonna fight some gym leader. It's the same story. Um, but the movies, yeah, I've seen every single Pokemon movie. It was one of the things when people ask me about Japan, I talk about Pokemon because it just was everywhere. Like, I mean, talk about I found the place where I belong, walk into 7-Eleven and you see Pokemon food and you're like, yeah, this is where I belong right here. Yeah, if it wasn't Selena, it would have been Pokemon. And if not Pokemon, good Lord, I wouldn't be able to tell you what the next thing would be. I'm a collector of Disney with Stitch, but that didn't happen until I worked for Disney and got brainwashed. I truly believe it. They brainwash you. So now I'm a Disney adult. It happened. I love it. I accepted the cult. Let's see. I collect vintage consoles. I guess that's probably where it would have went to, but Pokemon again introduced me to gaming. So yeah, I wouldn't, maybe Digimon would have made some type of imprint on me if it wasn't for Pokemon, but yeah, definitely would have been Pokemon.
Yeah. I can't really imagine having as much of anything else as I have of Scooby, but I guess if I had to pick something, it would probably be dragons. I do love Rudolph, and I have like a shelf of Rudolph stuff. I guess I could probably see a room full of Rudolph, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, but I'd probably like do dragons. I think that's what I would collect more than Scooby, but I can imagine life without Scooby. So, yeah.
Same. For Casper.
Yeah.
I mean, Scooby's cool. Scooby's cool.
Scooby and Casper would be friends. So,
Love the crossover with Supernatural.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Best crossover ever. Yes.
I see them be besties big time. Like,
Yeah.
who do we have to talk to? Scott Enos? I have friends that are friends with him. I just hung out with him at a convention.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, Scott was supposed to like contact me to go to Cajun Con to have a Casper booth, but he didn't contact me. I'm gonna be like, hey, what's going on? We'll see.
All right. Well, we have been doing this for 3.5 hours, so we're gonna wrap things up. Before we do, let everyone know where they can find you on social media. And Wendy, we will start with you.
On Instagram, I'm at Wendy Bridge. On Twitter X, Wendy Loves Jesus. And my blog is wendylovesjesus.wordpress.com.
Avery.
So I'm on Instagram as True Drew Podcast. You can find my podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and I'm also on YouTube where I do like game walkthroughs and stuff. And then I have my website, which is just truedrewpodcast.com.
Vanessa.
On YouTube, I'm the Friendly Ghost 95, and on Instagram, I am Vintage Apparition, TikTok Vintage_Apparition, and I have a link tree that's on all the socials that's got all my interviews, the Guinness World Records website for credential-wise, and all that other fun stuff. I'm also, I guess I could say I'm also on Amazon because you can you can put my name on the search bar and my book comes up, and I have this book in English and I have it in Japanese.
Nice.
And it's a really good read. If y'all love reading about stories, it's a good read. I suggest buying it.
Thank you.
Putting it out there.
It's my life story, and I also have my paranormal experiences in it, and it tells my story on how Casper saved my life since I was 5 years old. My whole thing, and it's got pictures of me with the celebrities that I've met, of Casper and my grandparents who are a big part of my life, and just my whole heart and soul is in this thing. So yeah.
That's great. Andrew.
So I feel like the oddball because I'm on one place, just Instagram. I mean, your boy has a YouTube. Does he get on it? No. Does he have a TikTok? Yes. Does he get on it? No. But you can always find me on Instagram at andrew.selena.collection. If for whatever reason you're struggling, this is going to sound so funny, but you can literally Google Andrew Longoria Selena and things will start popping up. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram at andrew.selena.collection.
And you can find all my links on ScoobyAddicts.com. Please follow everybody, check out their collections, and thank you for joining us for another Scooby panel. Thank you for tuning in to another Scooby panel. I'm Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com. If you like these panels, please subscribe to my channel for more great discussions. A huge shout out to our patrons, Julie Rosen, Ross from ScoobyFan.net, Tagus, Garrett Spencer, Paul the Scooby Dude, and Jesse. If you would like to support the Scooby panel, please go to patreon.com/ScoobyAddicts. A very special thank you to artist, blogger, and Scooby collector Wendy Bridge, Avery from True Drew Podcast, Casper collector and Guinness World Record holder Vanessa IRINO, and Selena collector and Guinness World Record holder Andrew Longoria. Scooby Panel is available in podcast form on most podcast platforms or as a web series on YouTube. You can find Scooby Panel on Instagram, Facebook, and X as @ScoobyPanel. We are part of the Collector's Maze Network, where you can find all things geek. Scooby and Shaggy were voiced by Scott Innes. Check out Scott's website, onescottshop.com. Scooby Addicts artwork by Will Davenport. Scooby Panel logo by Garrett Spencer. Video editing by Nikki Blake. Please join us next time for another Scooby panel.